So that was the Hull manager speaking on some of the injury issues that he has coming into this one. Let's take you back to Alex Crook and Sam Parkin, our commentary team then for this one. And Sam, just how impressive has the job been that Sergej Jukirovic has done at Hull?
He's done brilliantly. You wouldn't have had them anywhere near being a playoff team this season, so that's a testament to him and the players that he's put together. I think actually out of all the sides that are up there jostling, there seems to be a bit of opinion that they'll fall away, and I think that's kind of across the board, and I don't know why that is. Maybe it's a little bit unfashionable, the thought of Hull being back in the Premier League, and maybe it's because of what's gone before the last few years where it's been a bit of a revolving door in terms of the manager. The squad's been overhauled on numerous occasions, so there's been no continuity there. So to get it this season in terms of results has probably taken their own support a little bit by surprise, but I think it's only right that we start considering them as a real proposition to get to the Premier League next year, because the games are running out and they're still there, and the away form is tremendous coming into today. 6 wins in 7 coming to Fratton Park this afternoon. The only drop points were ironically at Sheffield Wednesday, which you would have expected them to take care of business of in their current plight. So Hull are a good side, and we're gonna witness a team that's full of goals, full of invention. They probably give away too many chances for the manager's liking, so that's something they need to be aware of for this run-in, because they've started shipping goals again in the last few weeks, and inevitably that means dropping points.
So what's been the biggest change then, or what have you noticed about Hull this season that has got them to where they are at right now?
If I can come in on this, Natalie, yeah. I've spoken quite a bit to Atun Ilikali, the Hull owner, and I spoke to him just after the winter transfer window, before they played Chelsea in the FA Cup, and I said, am I right in thinking that your recruitment model this season is really built around bringing in proven championship players? You look at John Egan, who's been an absolute rock at the back. He had interest from Premier League clubs in January, and at the opposite end of the pitch, Ollie McBurney, who obviously knows his way around this division with Sheffield United, he's come back to English football from Las Palmas, and he's scored 14 goals for the Tigers, and the owner said that's absolutely right. We've got an overseas manager, but we wanted a British core. They've got the likes of Paddy McNair on the bench as well, who's a seasoned championship campaigner, and I think that's been the main reason they've done so well, Sam.
I think you could argue, Natalie, that Ollie McBurney could be the best in the championship right now. Hadji Wright has come back into the goals. Vipotnik, I think, is the leading marksman right now for Swansea, but in terms of all-round game and the impact that he's had across the entirety of the season, I don't think there's many better. So that's, again, a real credit to him, because maybe he's not been able to do it consistently over the last few seasons. He's found a home, and I bet, and I know Chris Wilder for one was quite vocal about it earlier in the season in terms of wanting to see him or have him, or would have loved to have had him back in the red and white. I think there'll be a lot of championship managers and owners that are looking on and a little bit jealous of Hull City right now.
Well, yeah, 19 goal contributions he has had this season, 13 scored, 6 assists. He has been absolutely on fire for Hull, who are the third top scorers in the championship with 55 goals scored. This is a hugely significant game for them, because after this one they take on rivals who are fighting it out for the playoff places. So a pivotal game for them, no doubt. It is another busy weekend of live football on the Talksport network. Over on Talksport, exclusive Premier League commentary of two teams hoping to be in the mix for the European places face each other shortly. It's Bournemouth against Sunderland, 12:30. That one gets underway. Just swipe across on the Talksport app to listen. But here on Talksport 2, we're going to bring you Coventry against Stoke. That's at 3, immediately following the conclusion of our 12:30 kickoff. So, right now, sit back, listen in as we take you to Fratton Park as Portsmouth take on Hull with your match commentators. It's the former Ipswich striker Sam Parkin, who is alongside Alex Crook.
Thank you, Natalie. Very good afternoon, everybody. When Hull City drew here on the final day of last season to narrowly avoid relegation to League One, few would have had them earmarked as promotion contenders this time around. So good is the job that Sergej Jukirovic has done. The victory this afternoon takes the Tigers up to the lofty heights of third place in the table for a few hours at least, and much of that success has been built on a sensational run of away form. The Tigers have the chance to win 5 in a row, on the road for the first time since way back in 1966. As for Pompey, well, their focus is on the opposite end of the championship table. They enter the final 12 games of the season with a healthy 5-point buffer to the bottom three, testament to manager John Massinio's ability to operate on a modest budget compared to many of their second-tier rivals. Sam Parkin, it is all set up for a fascinating afternoon in the Fratton Park sunshine.
Yeah, we've spoken a few times already today about the fixtures that remain and the amount of different permutations that we're probably going to be treated to. It's a big game today for a number of reasons, but there's a really kind 7 games, including today, coming up for Pompey, where they could essentially be assured, I think, after that run of games, of their championship status. And the flip side, Hull City, as Natalie just alluded to, Ipswich away from home, Millwall at home, Wrexham away. That's their next 4, including today. So if they get some positive results in the next few weeks, their playoff position will be solidified. So there's loads on it, I think, in the short term. Forget about the longer term and what the end of the season's going to bring. For these two sides, the here and now, they can have a much better idea of where they're going to be across the next fortnight.
In terms of the team news, both sides making 2 changes from their respective midweek games. Pompey beaten at Wrexham, a loss that was made more painful by the injury to John Swift, so Adrian Segicic comes in. Harvey Blair also starts on the right-hand side of midfield. He's preferred in that position to Gustavo Caballero, who drops to the bench. 2 changes for Hull City as well from their pulsating victory at home to Derby. Akin Famewo and Lewis Kumas are the players who come in. So the 2 teams in full for Pompey. Nicholas Schmidt is the goalkeeper. Devlin Poole, Ogilvie and Swanson the back 4. Pack and Adams in front of them. Blair, Segicic and Ali behind Colby Bishop in attack. For Hull City, Pandor the goalkeeper, Coyle, Hughes, Egan, Famewo are the back 4, Slater and Hadziar Matovic in front of them, with Joseph, Gelhardt and Kumaz behind the very much in form Ollie McBurney in attack. We are about to get off and underway here on Talksport 2 on a glorious afternoon on the south coast. Hull City in their orange jerseys, black shorts and orange socks, shooting from left to right, attacking the Milton Road end in the first half will get us underway. Pompey in their traditional blue jerseys, white shorts and red socks are attacking the goal away to our left, and straight away Hull City looking to impose themselves early on. It's Famewo with the ball in from the left hand side. It's been cleared now up to the halfway line and picked up by the vastly experienced John Egan, the Republic of Ireland international. He plays the ball towards the Portsmouth penalty area and intercepts Regan Paul, and the home side, Sam, back in possession.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, Hull's left-hand side today, because Ryan Giles is such a source of goals, assists for them, missing today.
Well, they're coming forward now, and the ball is cut back to the left edge of the area, clawed away by the goalkeeper. McBurney has headed it in, but the flag was up for offside, and the visitors' celebrations are short-lived. It was Joe Gelhardt with the initial effort that forced the save from Nicholas Schmidt, flying to his right-hand side. McBurney stooped to nod in the rebound, but the whistle had already blown, Sam, and he was offside.
Yeah, just as I was talking about, it was the left side that functioned really well. Joseph getting in, supplying that cutback for Gelhardt. I think if that goes in flush off his left foot, that's the opening goal of the game. It's McBurney who's flagged for offside, who puts it in on the rebound. Scrambled in, actually. Schmidt made a little bit of a meal of it, but early let-off for the home side. And just going back to that, yeah, Famewo, more defensive nous you get with him, but the absence of Giles could be big for Hull City in the weeks ahead, because he is guaranteed assists after assist, week after week. So it's a slightly different dynamic, I think, for the visitors today. Maybe slightly better defensively, because he's a bit more sound, but they lose that attacking impetus.
Yeah, we haven't got the benefit of television replays up here in the press box of Fratton Park, but it just struck me that Joe Gelhardt didn't connect cleanly enough with the initial effort. He's been in brilliant form away from home. We'll come back to that, because Pompey have got a free kick at a very promising position, a yard in from that far touchline in front of the lower north stand. It's going to be played in left-footed and towards Marlon Pack, who didn't get contact on the ball, and it's bouncing around now midway inside Tigers territory. 0-0. We've played 3 minutes, but a very lively start here on Talksport 2, your home of the EFL, as Zach Swanson plays the ball back into the centre circle, and Pack will take over for Portsmouth. Sprays it out to this left-hand side. That's a decent pass to Millie Ali. And then a shot from a long way out that forces a good save from Pandor down to his right-hand side. It was Zach Swanson, the left-back, who let fly from fully 30 yards, and it just bounced awkwardly in front of the Hull goalkeeper, and he had to make sure his handling was spot on to turn it behind for a corner. 0-0.
Yeah, really fine effort. It was a good technical fullback, Swanson. Didn't turn down the opportunity to strike, caught it flush. Good stop.
Segicic with a corner, left-footed from the right-hand side, bouncing inside that penalty area. Then there looked to be a foul, and it's going to be a free kick for Hull, setting the chance to relieve some of this early Portsmouth pressure.
Yeah, good response from Portsmouth after very nearly conceding the opening goal. We spent a lot of time pre-match talking about what Portsmouth don't have maybe, but I think the additions in January, albeit they came late in the day, Crookie has just given them that impetus. Ibu Adams, Melenik Ali, probably the two that are out there this afternoon that I think have given them a new lease of life. Adams, just his character really in the midfield, and taking Ali from Luton, obviously a division below on loan, looked to risk, but he's done incredibly well. So I think, albeit it came quite late during the window, really important for them.
Here's Segicic winning the ball just inside the Hull half for Portsmouth. Bishop tries to play it out to the right-hand side. In steps the left-back for Maywu, and he clears it upfield. Headed down by Ogilvie and picked up just on the edge of the centre circle by Gelhardt. Looked to be a handball. Certainly the Portsmouth fans made that abundantly clear to the referee, but he doesn't give the free kick. He's back now with the Austrian Schmidt in the Portsmouth goal. 0-0 here, 0-0 over on Talksport. Bournemouth against Sunderland, two of the European contenders in the Premier League going head to head, and there are two other early games in the Championship, both affecting the bottom end of the table. Derby 0, Blackburn 0, Leicester 0, Norwich 0. We'll keep you posted with goals as they go in throughout the course of the afternoon. Here's Conor Ogilvie, Portsmouth's longest serving player, down the left-hand side with the bold head, knocks it back to Nicholas Schmidt, all in black away to our right, and he just plays it short out from the back, and Regan Paul takes over. After that early chance for Hull at Sam Park in Pompey have dominated possession.
They haven't. Quite refreshing to see Marlon Pack still out there at it. Played against him a number of times, and I think there's been occasions across the last few years where you maybe felt his days in the Portsmouth midfield were numbered. So again, a real credit that he's forced his way into the reckoning, and he's running games for them again, which is great to see for obviously a Portsmouth lad as well, who'd be loving this kind of renaissance at the end of his career.
He turns 35 in May, Marlon Pack. He's one of a number of players whose contracts are coming to an end, but I think he's shown enough over the course of the season probably to warrant a new deal. As Conor Ogilvie slowly brings the ball over halfway. We've played 6 minutes on Talksport 2. It's still Portsmouth 0, Hull 0. Pompey were 5 unbeaten here at Fratton Park before they lost 1-0 to Sheffield United last time out, a game they had more than enough chances to get something from. And I mentioned Hull's away form, absolutely terrific. They've won 6 of their last 7 on the road. As the ball is punted long towards the Pompey penalty area, and that was a foul on Regan Paul by the ever combative Ollie McBurney. So a free kick for Pompey around about the midway point of their own half. There has been talk, Sam, that Ollie McBurney might be able to force his way onto the plane for Scotland's World Cup squad. He's not been capped by his country since 2021. No goals in 17 previously at international level. What do you make of his chances?
Yeah, I don't think it's the worst idea at all that I've heard. It's obviously somewhere where, probably going back to what the 90s, that they've struggled, Scotland, haven't they, to get that focal point, that regular return. It's always the hardest thing at international level. So yeah, if he's scoring goals towards the tail end of the season, Steve Clarke's going to have a decision to make, and there's a number, isn't there? I think Harvey Barnes was getting mooted as well, wasn't he, a while ago? So
I think I'm right in saying he's turned that down. He still thinks he can get in the England squad.
Right, okay. Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't be a complete surprise, would it, if he could force his way in there in time? But yeah, I think there might be one or two that'll maybe position themselves for Steve Clarke to take a stab at.
Here's Marlon Pack for Pompey out to the left-hand side, and Millie Ali, who, as Sam has already alluded to, has made a really positive impact since being recruited in the January window on loan from Luton. I saw him play actually at the Valley, a game that Pompey won easily against Charlton 10 days or so ago, and he was absolutely terrific. Him and Ebu Adams, who was also signed in that winter transfer window. As you say, they left it quite late in the window, but two very shrewd pieces of business. Pompey have got a free kick here right in front of the home dugout, and it will be Segicic who takes it short to Marlon Pack. They've sent the likes of Ogilvie and Regan Paul forward to try and attack a ball that comes into the penalty area. Still, it's played down this left-hand side to Ali, and Ali with a cross. It was a rather shank one in the end, and that's behind for a goal kick for Hull. And with 8 minutes gone, it's still 0-0.
Yeah, I think throughout the season they probably added more facets to their side and the way that they can hurt opposition teams. They maybe became a little bit predictable at the start of the season. Now, already the pattern of this game is quite set, with Marlon Pack dropping in between the two centre-halves. That encourages Devlin, who's been a bit of a revelation, to bomb up and down the right-hand side. Swanson, touched on him already, really technically efficient fullback who can come in field. And what having Marlon Pack dropping so deep allows as well is Ebu Adams to go and join Segicic higher up. And he's a bit of a cheat code, really, Ebu Adams, because of his characteristics as a player. He's not a player who'll just sit alongside Marlon Pack. He'll go and join in and get in the box, and not many have the fitness capabilities to do so. So he's quite unique at Championship level, and Portsmouth already look like a side since the window closed with a few different ingredients.
Yeah, and he's already endeared himself to the Pompey fans by scoring in the South Coast derby here against Southampton. That guarantees him a place in Pompey folklore for life, really. So such is the rivalry between those two neighbours from along the M27. Really good start this from Portsmouth, and again they're coming forward. A little outside of the foot pass, played Swanson in down the left hand side. Ali is stopped in his tracks by a sliding Louis Coyle, but Pompey do have a throw in almost level with the Hull City penalty area, and the home fans in good voice on this early Saturday afternoon, live on Talksport 2 down on the South Coast. It's Portsmouth 0, Hull 0. Hull with eyes on a return to the Premier League. Pompey looking to secure their spot in the second tier for another season. But after that early opportunity when McBurney had a goal ruled out for offside, it's been all Pompey really. Slowing the game down as Ogilvie plays it out to this left-hand side, and Ali once more. Infield to Adams. The sun starts to poke out from the clouds once more. Adams on the edge of the centre circle, but still inside his own half, and then Regan Paul rather miscued the pass, but they've still managed to make something of it with Segicic inside the penalty area, and there was John Egan, right place, right time, just to clear the ball into the lower north stand over on the far side and out for a throw.
Yeah, having to work hard at the moment, Hull, just to stay in their shape, keep a good structure about them, because Portsmouth are in confident mood, popping it around. That was a lovely flowing passing move over on the far side. Nearly got Segicic in.
I think they should take confidence from their recent away form, as Ogilvie lets fly, blocked on the edge of the penalty area, then he tries to poke it forward to Segicic, but Hull have cleared it. I mean, 3 really difficult away games in quick succession, one at the Valley, one at the Den, and then gave Wrexham a real fright from 2-0 down in midweek to only lose 2-1 in the end.
Yeah, I think already, only 10 minutes in, Portsmouth look confident, they look cohesive, they look like they've got different ways to hurt Hull. The problem for them today is they're coming up against a front four who I think are relevant maybe of how the team's defending, have always got an opportunity to hurt. Joseph, Gelhardt, Kumas, McBurney, those 4 in transition are looking dangerous themselves. So I think we've got probably a more cohesive, confident Portsmouth when you look at the recent results. But I'd probably have Hull's front 4 maybe over Pompey's front 4 right now. So it's a really interesting matchup.
Well, you saw that, didn't you, very early on with that goal that was ruled out. Good work by Joseph down the left, cuts the ball back for Gelhardt. Should have probably done better with his shot. The goalkeeper didn't cover himself in glory, but McBurney, as all good number 9s do, was right on the spot, ready to turn in the rebound. I guess that's the danger as Pompey come forward again, but they leave themselves a little bit exposed on the counter-attack. Here's Ali, though, coming in from the left-hand side onto his right foot, then teeing up Segicic. Ebu Adams urged to shoot by the home supporters, ran about 30 yards out, doesn't accept the invitation. Instead he plays in Terry Devlin, who does hit one right-footed. The goalkeeper spilt it, and I think Ollie McBurney was being, not Ollie McBurney, Colby Bishop was being held by the Hull defender, which stopped him getting on the rebound. Certainly the home fans did as well. Charlie Hughes was the nearest Hull player to him, Would you be asking for a penalty, Sam, if you were Colby Bishop there?
Well, I would be, but I think the reality was Pandore was going to recover and get there first anyway, even without the tug. But yeah, Hughes was quite savvy there, just grabbed hold of Colby Bishop and didn't allow him to move. Devlin, in the aftermath of scoring those 2 goals at Charlton, he's not going to turn down the opportunity to shoot, and it was a stinging drive which Pandore, he spilt, but
the second of those goals at the Valley, by the way,
was a beauty,
was absolutely sensational. I mean, the first one was a nightmare from Kaminsky in the Charlton goal. The second was brilliant. Here's Ali, takes the ball expertly from the sky, down by the left corner flag, drills his cross into the penalty area, turned behind for a corner. This is really good stuff from Pompey early on. 0-0, but they're looking the more likely to open the scoring. The team in the lower reaches of the table, and you can hear those Pompey chimes ringing around Fratton Park. A clear sign of acknowledgement of what the home fans have seen so far. Segacic with the corner on this near side, the left. Ogilvie is forward, so too is Regan Poole once more. Segacic with the ball into the area, and it's still bobbling around on the edge of the 6-yard box, and then that's a brilliant save from Pandore. Well, it came for a crowded area, and it may well have been Colby Bishop who had the final effort right in front of goal. He would have seen it late, the Hull goalkeeper, and he managed to palm it behind for another corner.
They did incredibly well to keep it alive there, Portsmouth, in the Hull 18-yard box. It was either Bishop or Paul with the acrobatic effort, which, as you rightly say, was wonderfully turned aside by Pandore.
Another corner for Pompey. Segacic again whips it in, and this time it's headed wide, and it will be a goal kick for Hull City, and the Tigers escape once more.
Yeah, just got to get through this spell, really. The visiting side, as I've touched on multiple occasions already, they have the firepower in their ranks, but they're getting tested, they're getting moved around, and those different intricacies in Portsmouth's setup, the pattern of play when they're building, is causing them all manner of problems. Looks like a good battle down Portsmouth's left, Hull's right as well. Ali up against Coyle so far in combat, been really good to watch.
Hull City unbeaten in 3 of their last 4 against Portsmouth, including the reverse fixture, which was a 3-2 victory at the MKM. Haven't done the double in this fixture since the 1966-67 season. But it's the home side who have definitely started on the front foot here. Marlon Pack, sandwiched between 2 Hull players, wanted a free kick inside his own half. Nothing doing, according to the referee, and then it's played forward in the direction of Kumas, but held back by Devlin to Nicholas Schmidt, the goalkeeper. His clearance didn't go very far, so Hull City with the opportunity to build again with Famewu down the left-hand side. Neat turn from Kumas, and then plays the ball into Gelhardt in midfield. This is Louis Coyle now just outside the penalty area. Deep delivery, looking for McBurney at the far post, and it was headed behind by Paul for Hull City's first corner of the afternoon.
Yeah, the front boys are bright, no question about that. They haven't been deterred by giving up the lion's share of the ball here. When they get on it, they're shifting it quickly. Gelhardt's been bright from the off, and good ball in from Coyle. Looked like McBurney was poised on the far post, but Paul just able to nick it away for a set piece at the opposite end.
The corner to be taken in front of the pocket of travelling fans behind the goal that Hull are attacking away to our right. We've played 17 minutes, still 0-0. This is a potential dangerous moment for the home side, who've been on top to this point. By that early Ollie McBurney goal ruled out correctly for offside. There's a bit of pushing and shoving inside the penalty area, and the referee is just going to stop the play. Famewu ended up on the deck. Finally, the corner will be taken, but not before the referee's had a word with Famewu and one of the Pompey players. You can see, Sam, they've got 2 lined up right in front of the goalkeeper, so this ball is going to be whipped into a crowded 6-yard area. The first head away was that of a blue shirt, and then Segacic able to clear and knock the ball long towards the halfway line. Hull will build again with their goalkeeper Pandore, the Croatian.
Yeah, it was Ibu Adams with a good header there inside the 6-yard box. Lost his man for the second goal at Wrexham in the week, but I know that's a big part or big job that he's handed when he's defending set pieces. He normally does it well, frustrated with himself, it looked, in the week.
Yeah, they were second best in the first half at the racecourse ground, Pompey, but really did impose themselves on a Wrexham side banging form after the restart. Got an early goal in the second half, and then Wrexham were rather hanging on towards the end. Harvey Blair came on as a half-time substitute. Did enough to get a place from the start today. We've not seen too much of him so far. Most of the Pompey players have been down this left-hand side with Milialic instead. Here's Zach Swanson, the former Arsenal youngster. Marlon Pack, whenever Pompey are in possession, is not averse to dropping back and trying to spray balls from deep. That time he was looking to play in Blair down the right-hand side, but he can't keep it in play, and Hull City have a throw.
Yeah, just have to be careful, Portsmouth, I think, when they're building, not to overcommit, because I've already spoken about both the fullbacks are going. Swanson's coming a little bit more infield, but they're very, very high. So when the ball turns over, Hull won't turn down that opportunity to just play it down the side of the centre halves for Kumas and Joseph in particular, and they've very nearly got in on a couple of occasions.
Yeah, and here they are on the attack again with Joseph down the right. Coyle had made the run ahead of him, but it was tracked all the way by Swanson. He just side-foots the ball out of play for a throw on this near side. Portsmouth 0, Hull City 0. Live from Fratton Park in the Championship. Blue Army is the cry reverberating around this antiquated old ground. And it's going to be Coyle to take the throw on the near side. Cushion back to him by McBurney. Coyle down by the corner flag. His cross was blocked by Swanson and then ricochet back off the Hull fullback and out for a throw. You are listening to EFL live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m. 18 plus. Fees apply to delivery orders subject to availability. Prices may vary. The two managers, Sam Parkin, John Massinio, will be really happy with what he's seen so far.
Yeah, I think so, but he'll be aware that they need to kind of take advantage of their supremacy so far by getting their noses in front. The longer it goes on, the more concerning it becomes, I think, when you're in the ascendancy and you don't score.
Got a bit of space down this left-hand side again. Swanson over the halfway line, quickly rolls it forward to Ali. Ali shifts onto his right foot, away from Coyle. Let fly from the edge of the penalty area, but blocked by the first Hull defender. Ibu Adams on the scene to keep Pompey in possession. And here's Swanson, 22 yards out, curling right foot effort, straight into the arms of Pandor. 0-0.
Just took the extra touch there, Swanson. The target opened up for him. The space was there to exploit. Went for the curled effort on that occasion. Tried to fire it in at the near post. His first shooting opportunity of the game, but that one easy for the goalkeeper.
Sergei Yakorovich, the Hull manager, in his white trainers out on the edge of the technical area just down below us. Made his name saving Kayserispor from relegation in the Turkish top division last season. He's got Dean Holden assisting him, former Bristol City and Charlton manager, and Dean Holden just came out to relay some instructions as well. As Pompey have a throw midway inside their own half with Zach Swanson. The two big moments so far as we tiptoe towards the quarter-way mark. Ollie McBurney inside the first minute had a close-range effort correctly chalked off for offside, and at the other end I think it was Regan Poole, as you spotted, Sam, acrobatically denied from point-blank range by Ivor Pandor in the Hull goal. Pompey have only scored 34 goals from their 33 games so far this season, but have been defensively largely solid, and that defensive record you would expect will be put to the test today against a Hull side banging form, particularly on their travels, as McBurney, with the socks rolled down to the ankles, just plays the ball back into his own half. And you just sense in the last couple of minutes they're trying to dictate possession a bit more, Hull City.
Yeah, I think it's always a case of trying to weather the early storm, especially here at Fratton Park, where they can really get on top of you. So they've been able to do that. They've not conceded and probably gained a little bit of confidence from that. In turn, what we were speaking about pre-match, Crookie, just the lack of goals in the Pompey front line. If they could have had a couple more players contributing a few more goals, then they'd probably be home and hosed already in terms of their championship status. It just looks as a bit of a lack of confidence in that front line.
It was a great pass by Marlon Pack, arrowed the ball out the right hand side to Harvey Blair, who never really had it under control. He goes down inside the penalty area. The fans in the Fratton end away to our left are asking for a spot kick, but the players weren't really. It's a lovely technique to find that pass by Marlon Pack, and Harvey Blair just didn't make the most of it.
Now, Famewo's dealt with him no problem at all whatsoever. It's early days, of course, this afternoon, but spoke about the absence of Ryan Giles, maybe away from home, actually suiting Hull City to go with a more defensively minded fullback, and to this point Famewo's done a good job thwarting Harvey Blair.
A couple of goals elsewhere I'll tell you about in a moment, but it's Hull City who are coming forward here. The slide broad pass from Gelhardt, easily intercepted on the edge of the area by Ogilvie, and then the cross from the fullback Coyle is dealt with as well, and Marlon Pack side-foots the ball up towards Bishop inside the centre circle. It was a heavy touch by Egan that allowed Bishop to regain possession, and Marlon Pack another good ball forward to Segicic, and Segicic into the penalty area, left-footed shot, drags it across the face of goal. I think he actually played it through the legs of Charlie Hughes, and the ball is behind for a goal kick.
A wonderful ball from Marlon Pack. You love to see it, just not playing square, purposeful, trying to penetrate the opposition, and Segicic doesn't have electric pace, does he? And he lacked a little bit of conviction there receiving it. Hughes was back at him, he was going to win the race had they gone on, so took the shot early and missed the far post by a good couple of yards.
So 0-0 here on Talksport 2 between Portsmouth and Hull in the Championship. There has been a goal over on Talksport in the Premier League, and it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1, and also a goal in League 1, Leyton Orient 1, Barnsley 1. That's another 12:30 kickoff on this Saturday afternoon. Again, the Hull City manager Jakirovic is out on the edge of the technical area as the visitors have a throw down their right hand side. Coyle takes it, and it might be kept alive inside the area by Joseph, but again Pompey defend their line well enough and clear the ball up to halfway. It's with Zach Swanson in the left back position, put under a little bit of pressure by Gelhardt, but still manages to find his goalkeeper Schmidt, who clears the ball left footed up into the air, and then one back in the centre circle by Hughes. He plays it out to the left, and that is going to skip away from Lewis Kumas and out for a throw in for the home team. Pompey actually, Sam, haven't conceded more than one goal in any of their last 10 league games here at Fratton Park, so that tells you how big a challenge Hull do face this afternoon.
Yeah, and that was a glimmer there, wasn't it, for Joseph? Turned down the opportunity to shoot, a little bit hesitant. You can't do that with Ibu Adams tracking back into his own 18-yard box. He was comfortable getting the foot in and dispossessing the Hull wide man, but they've had their moments, maybe not equated to opportunities on Nicholas Schmidt's goal, but just the one probably scare for Pompey coming in that opening minute.
Throw in for the home side, Zach Swanson to take, standing just a few paces in front of John Massinio, his manager. Short to Ibu Adams, then Swanson back into his own half, and Regan Paul looking to dink it down the right hand side, but not too much pace on that, as Terry Devlin was well forward inside the penalty area, but the goalkeeper Pandor content just to let it go behind for a goal kick for Hull. 0-0 with 26 minutes played. Pompey beginning the day 5 points clear of Leicester in 22nd spot, the last of the relegation places, the Foxes. 0-0 in their game against Norwich, which kicked off at the same time. And for Hull, with many of the sides above them not in action until later on over the weekend, they know a victory would propel them up to third spot. I think probably the playoffs is the best they can hope for, but mathematically they would still believe they can catch the likes of Coventry and Middlesbrough and Ipswich, the three teams vying for an automatic promotion spot. Here is Lewis Kumas, the Liverpool loanee, spent the first half of the season at Birmingham. Wins a throw in on that far side, played the ball against Devlin and out of play. Not got him on the ball too much, have they, so far, Kumas, in the first 27 minutes?
No, there's been a couple of opportunities to spring through him and Joseph, but not been able to really get into the final third, into dangerous territory in good possession. But they've looked bright, and they've stemmed that early Pompey flow. It's more of an even game now.
Regan Paul well forward down the right hand side for Pompey, and he manages to help the ball through to Blair, cross into the area, which is cleared away by Hughes, and now Ogilvie allowed to maraud forward into the whole half. Neat little ball that from Ali, almost playing Swanson in down the Pompey left, but it's cleared away by Coyle and then brought down neatly on the chest by Joe Gelhardt, the Leeds loanee. He was caught after the ball had gone, Hull wanting a free kick. Jakirovic stood with arms astride, asking the referee why play wasn't halted there, but he has tried to let it flow as much as possible. Here's Marlon Pack, the Pompey number 7, deep inside his own territory. Bishop flicks the ball on, and a little bit of hesitancy there from Hughes to come and meet the ball, but he did in the end and headed it clear, but only to Swanson on halfway, and his ball out to Harvey Blair, goes under his studs and out for a Hull throw.
Yeah, it was a difficult pass actually. He put loads of pace on it, but there wasn't much space really for Harvey Blair to move into. Famo was tight with him as well, so it's a difficult one to take under his spell. Just starting to get a little bit of criticism from the crowd. Blair on that side, it's not been all his own doing, but just needs to sharpen up a tad.
Well, just speaking to some of the local media in the press room before the teams were announced, and we got an indication that maybe Harvey Blair would get the nod today ahead of Caballero. They were a bit surprised by that maybe he's flattered to deceive during his Portsmouth career, but Caballero yet to play at Fratton Park this season, yet to make his home bow. And you're right, the fans have been on Blair's back as a couple of things he's tried on that far side haven't quite come off. Cross into the Portsmouth area by Coyle is overhit, sails over the roof of the net and actually into the Hull fans behind the goal, and with half an hour gone it's still 0-0.
Yeah, well, confidence in forward players doesn't have to just mean assists and scoring goals. I think sometimes it shows in the all-round game, and I can see in the Hull front four players there's a confidence, there's a vigour, but when the ball goes into Harvey Blair and Colby Bishop for that matter at the moment, there's just a little bit of a lack of confidence, a little bit of lack of conviction. The touch has got away from Bishop on a few occasions, and in turn you hear the murmurs from the crowd, and I think that's a little bit of a problem at the moment. Obviously they're just underperforming a little bit, those front guys, having to rely on goals coming from elsewhere, which is all well and good, but in a game like today, which is probably going to be decided possibly by the odd goal, it's going to be really tight. You want your front players to come to the fore, and they're just a little bit undercooked for me at the moment, the Pompey guys.
Slater with the ball out for the Hull left, but quickly won back by Portsmouth, and here's Regan Paul halfway inside Pompey territory. 15 minutes the first half to play on Talksport 2. We await the first goal at Fratton Park. Swanson over the halfway line and in towards Ali. Coyle touch tight, just toe pokes the ball out for a throw in on this near side the left. And here is Swanson now back just inside the Pompey half again, with green grass to run into. Neat turn from Segicic, and then he plays the ball out to the left-hand side, and Ali. Bishop lurking around about the penalty spot. Ali tried the low ball into the box, which was blocked by Coyle. And then the referee just thought that Coyle was a bit overzealous with the challenge there and has given Pompey a free kick down by the left corner flag.
Yeah, mistake from such an experienced player who looked like he dealt with the task in hand there. He got the foot on the ball, looked like Ali was running out of pitch, and needless little shove from Louis Coyle. Looked like the right decision from Sam Allison.
So a free kick here that Hull didn't really need to give away. It's only a yard in from the byline, and it's going to be taken by the Australian Segicic. There are 5 or 6 blue shirts lined up almost in a train-like position around about the penalty spot. Segicic didn't beat the first man. Really disappointing that from a home perspective, and he looks at the skies in frustration, Segicic, as the ball is now back with Nicholas Schmidt, the goalkeeper. Long punt upfield from him over the head of Ogilvie, but Ibu Adams manages on the half volley to pick out Ali. Ali level with a penalty area again. He's going to run at Coyle, comes into his right foot, and he drills it towards the bottom corner. I think it was always going to go wide, but the goalkeeper Pandor watched it all the way and goes down to his right and makes a pretty routine save. 0-0.
Yeah, not the best effort. Needed to go towards the far corner there with the side foot, try and curl one, as Swanson did 10 or so minutes ago. Opted for power, but he was going to miss the near post in any case. It was going to go wide of the target. Pandor just making the save.
You have to go back to December 2020 for the last time Pompey beat Hull, winning 2-0 away from home. But they've proved more than a match for the promotion chasers in the opening 33 minutes of the first half here, without creating a host of chances, it has to be said. As Harvey Blair plays the ball back into Regan Paul just on the edge of the centre circle. Now Ogilvie over halfway. He's got Ali in space on this near touchline. It's been a good battle that between Ali and Coyle. Ali coming in field and finding Marlon Pack, who is urged to shoot by the home supporters, but instead rolls it out to the right, and Blair in the bright yellow footwear, looking to get a low cross in towards Bishop at the near post, and Bishop looked to just hook it goalwards there, and he felt that it was blocked by a defender and it should be a corner. Goal kick is the decision.
Yeah, a bit better from Blair, wasn't it? At least getting to the byline and getting the delivery in, but he arrived Bishop at the same time as Egan, and the little ricochet takes it to safety for Hull. I'm not too sure he had a case there. It looked a bit half-hearted from Colby Bishop, and again a little bit of sign of that frustration, because the quality into him is a little bit forced. The conditions aren't perfect. There's a little bit of a swirl in the air, and that favours the two physical centre halves who are dominating him at the moment.
Now that goal, by the way, over on Talksport, still Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Mayenda putting the Black Cats in front, and in League 2 it's Shrewsbury 0, Walsall 1. We are into the final 11 minutes of the first half. Hull did have the ball in the net inside 45 seconds, but Ollie McBurney flagged for offside before he put the ball over the line. At the other end, we've seen one really good save from Ivor Pandor, the Hull City goalkeeper, keeping out Regan Paul's acrobatic effort from a set piece. Apart from that, chances have been limited. Maybe that could change here with Kumas on the edge of the penalty area. His cross blocked away by Paul, and then Devlin looking for Blair, trying to use his pace on that right hand side, but across comes John Egan to clear into touch for a Pompey throw that Devlin is sprinting forward to take quickly. The home fans doing their best to urge their team on here. Just a little shake of the head from John Massinio in conversation with one of his backroom staff down on the touchline. I think he would like, Sam, because they've had so much of the ball and they've limited Hull at the other end to have created one or two more clear-cut chances.
Yeah, absolutely, and the longer it goes on at 0-0, that worry will set in that they could maybe have another one of those days that they experienced against Sheffield United recently and ultimately not win this game. Illa wanted to score, of course, in the opening 15-20 minutes when they were very much in the ascendancy. More of an even game now. But you're right, they've dealt with Hull. Not too many problems going the other way. I think the fact of the matter is that Swanson's probably the best player on display at the moment. The problem for Pompey is that he's a left-back. But get him into forward positions, he's looking like he can create.
Well, they've certainly done that here. It was a neat little 1-2 with Ali, and then Swanson played the ball across the area to Blair. He's got Devlin in support. Blair's cross doesn't beat the first man, but it might come down inside the penalty area for Devlin, who gets a left-footed shot away. It was blocked behind for a corner. Again, Swanson heavily involved, and it needed defending. And it's going to be a corner for Pompey on the right-hand side this time. Into the last 9 minutes of the half, 0-0. As those Pompey chimes ring out for the Fratton end again, away to our left, and Segicic to take this corner. Certainly you wouldn't begrudge Pompey a goal before half-time on the balance of play. Ogilvie making a dart towards the near post. Segicic puts it to the edge of the 6-yard box, but it's the header McBurney that gets it clear. Swanson firing it back in, and Bishop will bring it down and gets his shot away. And again, the goalkeeper down to his left has to push it behind for a corner.
And he's got that wrong, the referee. That didn't take a touch, that's a goal kick.
Did he pull his arm away at the last moment?
Yeah, he didn't get a touch, I don't think, and you can tell from the reaction of the whole back line, they very disappointed at this award.
Segicic with a corner again. Referee has blown for a foul as the ball was played in towards the goalkeeper anyway.
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise.
You think he realised his mistake?
I would think so.
That's why I was a little bit hesitant to say he made the save, because my initial reading of it was the same as yours, but I went with the referee's call.
I mean, Colby Bishop should be hitting that with the laces though. Regan-Paul did brilliantly, actually just ushered out one of the Hull defenders there to allow Bishop the space on the left-hand side of the 18-yard box. But once he'd taken the touch, he opted to go for a little cute side footer into the far corner with the ball always angling away from the far post. I know it's his weaker side, but you just got to put your laces through that.
That's the voice of the former Swindon and Luton striker Sam Parkin, part of our commentary team here at Fratton Park. 38 minutes gone. Pompey 0, Hull City 0. 0-0 in the other two games as well. Derby against Blackburn and Leicester taking on Norwich. So, as we were in terms of Blackburn, Pompey and Leicester fighting to avoid relegation. And at the moment, Hull City not taking the opportunity to put the heat on the teams above them at the top end of the table. I mean, I'd imagine if they get in at 0-0, Sam Parkin, we're going to see a bit more attacking ambition from Hull in the second half. They will see this as an opportunity to put a big 3 points on the board.
Yeah, they will do, but I think you credit Portsmouth have put it on them in this first half. They played the better of the two sides. They've been, as I've touched on a number of occasions, more cohesive. Just lacking that final little element of Pompey, which has probably been a bit of a criticism throughout the season until recent weeks. So you need to come up with a goal to just cement what's been a good all-round performance, just missing the final little bit of gloss.
Harvey Blair winning a throw-in over on the far side for Portsmouth, midway inside Hull territory. And then there was an incident off the ball, which has resulted in a Portsmouth free kick in a decent area. Again, a cheap one to give away for the foul on Segicic. And an opportunity for the home side to send their big defenders forward again.
Yeah, I think there's a sense that Hull have been in this situation multiple times this season, though. That's the reality. So they'll be quite comfortable. They haven't conceded. They know they've got that firepower the later the game goes on to maybe nick something here today. So this is a really important 5 minutes for them to get through at 0-0 to half time.
They'll be frustrated if they concede here, though, from this free kick, having not needed to make the challenge. Marlon Pack and Adrian Segicic, the two players, stood over the ball. Looks like it's going to be Pack to whip this in right-footed on. It took a nick off a Hull player because it wasn't a great delivery. I think it was Joe Gelhardt back trying to defend, and inadvertently he's given Pompey a corner that they probably didn't need to concede.
Yeah, the moans were...
It was a terrible free kick.
The moans went up, didn't they, as soon as it left the foot of Marlon Pack, because he didn't connect at all. But yeah, it's turned out quite well to give them the corner kick off their miscued clearance from Gelhardt.
The latest in a number of Pompey corners in this first half. 41 gone, 0-0. Segicic, left-hand side this time. Again, the dead ball delivery from the home side has left a little to be desired, considering the number of opportunities they have had to put pressure on this Hull City defence over the course of the opening 41 minutes. Again, the referee is just calling a couple of players over before he'll allow the corner to be whipped in. And even the atmosphere has just quietened a bit. These home fans need something to wake them from their slumber, you feel. Or they get it from the corner. Segicic puts his right arm up into the air. Left-footed delivery. And again, it bounces awkwardly on the 6-yard line before being swept away. Swanson immediately plays it forward down this left-hand side to Segicic. Now Ali with a chance to cross low, blocked by Hughes. The former West Brom man, and out of play for a throw-in level with the 18-yard line. Marlon Pack looks like he's lining up to launch this long. He just wipes the ball in his blue jersey. There are a cluster of Pompey players in and around the penalty area. Pack decides actually Swanson with a short throw is the better option. Swanson with a cross straight into the arms of Ebor Pandor, and once again, Sam, you could hear the groans from the home supporters.
Yeah, it was poor, and unlike him in this first half, Swanson, because he's been so good in terms of everything he's done really. His distribution's been first class, and he's posed a real problem for the visitors, just tucked in off this left hand side when he ventured forward. But yeah, it was at 5 or 10 yards away from being on the money there. And another crossfield ball from Marlon Pack goes out of play on the far side. That's been a bit of a feature of this first half, not been able to connect with Harvey Blair over on the right.
Plenty of endeavour, not much quality, would that be fair?
Certainly around the 18-yard box, yeah, I think there's been some good approach play, but it's just all too often broken down when it's got into the vital spot.
Here's Alic for Pompey, out to the left-hand side, where again Swanson, the left-back, is a willing runner, keeps the ball in play down by the corner flag, back to Ali, and then Ali skips away from one challenge, and then a neat bit of footwork from him to make space to play the ball back towards Marlon Pack, centre of the whole half. Devlin out to Blair. Blair's going to get the opportunity to come forward into the penalty area here. Crosses, sliding challenge from Awu, takes the ball behind for another Pompey corner. 2 minutes to go until half-time, 0-0.
Yeah, that's better again from Blair, just committing the full-back, but it actually negates the threat of Devlin, really, doesn't it, having someone staying really high and wide in terms of Blair's position as a right winger. Segicic has been out there a lot this season, maybe Chaplin on occasion as well, who naturally tuck in field and allow Devlin to go on the outside. He's been a bit restricted so far today.
It will be Segicic to take the latest corner. It's a high one that hung in the air before ultimately evading everybody in blue and tamely trickling out for a throw-in down by the corner flag on this near right touchline, the Hull City right, 0-0. I don't think there'll be too much by way of added on time. We've got 90 seconds of the first half to play. What will the two managers be saying to their respective charges during the interval, Sam, if we don't get any late drama here?
Yeah, I'd be disappointed. I think John Messino that they didn't get the goal in the early part of the game when they started so brightly. So just improve in that final third. They'd be thinking about probably the changes if it's 0-0 coming to 60, 65 minutes. How can he affect things with what he's got in reserve today? And Hull have soaked up the pressure but not shown anything really in terms of attacking impetus. So yeah, it's maybe, I think, working a little bit harder without the ball to win possession and then set Joseph and Kumas in particular free. I think they are the key, who have been obviously on the periphery of the game thus far. Colby
Bishop able just to flick the ball on the edge of the Hull area, out to Ali, sliding challenge by Louis Coyle, takes the ball out of play on this near side for a Portsmouth throw.
For the home side as well, I would be encouraging Swanson not necessarily to go too high up, but they need to get him on the ball, and if they can encourage Ali down the left hand side, and Swanson, they've got enough cover behind. Swanson can go up there and almost get in that left 10 position where he crossed from a few moments ago, or to get into shooting positions, because he looks like the one with the key today.
Marlon Pack with the long throw this time, cleared to the edge of the penalty area. Segicic met it on the volley, but left-footed hits his effort into the ground. One added minute at the end of the first half, which remains goalless as we move into stoppage time. Again, maybe he could have done better there, Segicic, as the ball broke kindly for him on the edge of the area. A lot of the home supporters have seen enough in this first half, making their way onto the concourses to get their half-time refreshments. I mean, before the game, Sam, they probably would have been quite happy to go in 0-0 against a team battling away at the top of the table and in such good form on the road. But apart from that early salvo when McBurney had the goal ruled out, Hull haven't really laid a glove on.
No, they haven't.
On the home side.
They haven't. It's been a lot of, since about the 20-minute mark, where Portsmouth started really well and did force a number of half opportunities on the whole goal. It's been Portsmouth in possession, it breaking down as it gets into the final third, and we're yet really to see any of that pretty formidable front four that the visitors have had across the season. They've been very, very peripheral.
Well, there goes the half-time whistle. Some frustrated looks on the faces of the Hull City players. They came flying out of the blocks. Ollie McBurney had the ball in the back of the Pompey net inside the opening minute. That correctly ruled out for offside, but apart from that, it's been pretty comfortable for the home defence, and the best chance of note came at the other end from a set piece, of which Pompey have had many. Regan Paul up from the back, meeting the ball acrobatically 6 yards out, and it forced a flying save from Ivor Pandor down to his right hand side. But at the moment, despite the big gulf in terms of the table, nothing to separate Portsmouth battling to avoid relegation and Hull with eyes on a return to the Premier League. Half time here at Fratton Park. It is Portsmouth 0, Hull City 0.
Alex, thank you very much. So let's look over that first half, shall we then, with Sam Parkin. And obviously, as we've been hearing there, you'd imagine John Mousinho will be certainly the happier of the two managers in terms of their output and what they've been doing. The only criticism might be that they've not been able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think relatively pleased, because I think it's been another good kind of level of performance which has been consistent across kind of the last couple of months. But yeah, there'll be a frustration, I think, that they started so brightly and they didn't get the opening goal, which could have meant for a much more different looking afternoon. If you score early in any game, especially against a side across the last 3 or 4 weeks that, albeit at home, have been struggling for results, that could have put them in a brilliant position. So yeah, it's too often broken down. And I said to Crookie in the commentary, the cohesiveness of the team is there, is evident. The patterns that they're playing with, they're clearly confident, but I just think there's a lack of confidence in the Portsmouth front players, Bishop and Harvey Blair in particular. I can see that from up here. It's a bit different contrasting at the other end, albeit they haven't had much of the ball hole. So yeah, it's trying to garner that confidence, I think, in the likes of Bishop, who are just lacking in those goals, because if they could get that, Portsmouth would look a really good team.
And I guess as well, to potentially, I know it's half time, so we know there's plenty more football to be played, and an outcome could see a victory for either side. But on paper right now, a point against a team fighting for a playoff position like Hull are, that does look good for Portsmouth, doesn't it? That's another confidence booster. Yeah,
I think it wouldn't be the worst outcome, but it feels like the game's here for them. In reality, I think they're playing well. As I've touched on multiple occasions, there's just that lack of conviction, really, and I think that was problematic early part of the season. There was a clear lack of goals. Crookie laid it out a few moments ago, one of the lowest scorers in the country, and two of those two handsome away wins recently. So it just feels like that's reared its ugly head a little bit again today, that there's a little bit of a lack of confidence, maybe invention in the final third. And as I've again been speaking of frequently in that opening 45 minutes, the best player on display, Zach Swanson. Just unfortunately, he's a left back for Portsmouth, so he is encouraged to go forward and get into midfield and be that creative spark. And I think that'll be a part of John Mousinho's team talk, to try and free him up and get him forward into positions where he can hurt Hull, because he looks like the most likely.
Yeah, so what about Hull then? Clearly disappointing at this present moment in that first 45 minutes. Very, very rarely have they troubled Portsmouth going forward. What's been the biggest issue for them?
I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be quite comfortable in there. I just think they've done it so many times on the road. They give up opportunities, we know that, and that's not necessarily been evident in that first half. They haven't presented Portsmouth with too many opportunities, good opportunities on their goal. And I think they'll be confident knowing that they've got the front players to conjure something. You know, even if it's not the best performance, even if it's 0-0 for a large portion of this afternoon's game, I think they'll be all right with where they are. They've not really functioned in the final third, but that's more to do with Portsmouth putting it on them and being the better side in that opening half. But I don't think there'll be any panic down there. I think that they'll expect, as you just alluded to, no game looks the same. The half, sorry. So despite Portsmouth being the better side in the opening half, I would expect it to change a little in the second, and Hull to have more of the ball and potentially more opportunities.
And something I mentioned just before kick-off, and you picked up on it as well, are the upcoming fixtures for Hull. Yeah. They're huge when you consider they've got to play Ipswich, they've got to play Millwall, Wrexham as well, who are all in this fight for the playoff positions. They can't afford to drop points, can they?
No, and it's as I spoke of earlier, and I'm probably guilty of it a little bit. You're trying to make a case for teams getting into the playoffs and teams dropping out, and I think just because the amount of goals they concede and the amount of chances they give up, everyone's just got that sense that it could be a bit of a battle for Hull to remain in these positions. So that's why I think today is imperative that they get something from the game, because I can't see them getting something at Ipswich, and the form that Millwall and Wrexham in, you know, probably 3 points out of those two games would be a great return. And the way that Wrexham are going, Southampton have positioned themselves all of a sudden with a game against Sheffield Wednesday today, which you'd expect them to win. They're on the cusp of it as well. Watford winning last night. Yeah, this is a really important one for Hull, because I don't envisage them getting too many points across the next 3 games after today. Then it becomes a little bit rosier for them. So it's all about that, isn't it? And they'll sit in the office, the staff, Jakirovic with Dean Holden, and they'll plot where they believe they're going to get points. And today would certainly been earmarked for a point and possibly 3. So they'll be desperate to get that in the second half.
OK, Sam, we'll let you have a little rest up before that second half begins, and we will bring you that, of course. And we'll also look ahead to our 3 o'clock championship offering, which is Coventry against Stoke. You're listening to EFL Live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app. That's from 11 a.m. It's 18 and over. Fees apply to delivery orders, subject to availability, and price may vary.
Your live sports station.
Oh, what a move. This is Talksport 2.
EFL Live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. The Big Arch is here to stay at McDonald's with its very own delicious sauce. Available from 11 a.m. subject to availability. Price and participation may vary.
It's the last chance to get yourself a ticket for tonight's Lotto draw.
It could be you.
Lotto from the National Lottery. Rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over.
Get 3 months half price when you switch to an unlimited SIM with 3. That means quick streaming, faster downloads, and more money to spend on the things you love. Join the UK's fastest 5G network and get your unlimited SIM today. Buy now in store or c3.co.uk.
Unlimited 24-month light plan. Proof of switching required. Based on Ookla speed test intelligence data 2H 2025. All rights reserved. Subject to credit checks and terms.
Money Super 7, you've been saving people serious money, but they deserve even more. Can I count on you?
Always, boss. For a start, Money Supermarket give everyone a £15 reward just for switching their car insurance.
That's a very good start.
And when they keep on switching with us, we'll give them more and more rewards.
See how much you could save with Money Supermarket. Rewards include gift cards, qualifying purchase with logged in account, 18 plus UK only. See site for T's and C's.
Idle pocket money sits in a piggy bank, rolling its eyes and twiddling its thumbs, bored stiff. But if you open a free Monzo Kids account, your child's pocket money is always busy. It earns interest in a savings pot and teaches them how to save for a future where they don't need to ask you for cash. Monzo, the bank that gets your money moving. For children aged 6 to 15, parent or guardian account needed first. UK residents only. T's and C's apply.
Forecasting sun with a 100% chance of beach. There's not long left to get up to £500 off package holidays in EasyJet's Big Orange Sale. Plus get up to 20% off flights. EasyJet. Get out there. Selected dates and flights. Sale ends 3rd of March. Holidays min spend and ATOL protected. T's and C's apply.
Hey Sainsbury's, any way you can save me a few quid on my weekly shop?
Well, Jane, try Your Nectar Prices. Every week in Your Nectar app, you can unlock up to 10 personalised discounts on things you love at Sainsbury's. A Janesbury's, if you will.
Sounds like my kind of place.
Get personalised discounts with Your Nectar Prices. That's good food for all of us. Sainsbury's. 18 plus Nectar app required. Unlock up to 10 Your Nectar Prices weekly. Available in supermarkets, online and in locals with Smart Shop. T&Cs apply.
Talksport 2 is your dynamic destination for all the latest sporting action, featuring live commentary of all the biggest events, including football, PGA golf, horse racing, Premiership rugby, cricket, boxing, and all the big-hitting drama of the NFL. Touchdown! Plus, Talksport 2's official betting partner, William Hill, is always on hand with the insight and in-depth analysis you need. Talksport 2 with official betting partner, William Hill. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
PGA Tour, the Cognizant Classic, tonight from 6, live on Talksport 2.
Blasted high into the air, will it land softly? Oh my goodness!
As the world's golfing elite go head-to-head in Florida. Hear full hole-in-one commentary of all the action, direct from the Palm Beach Gardens Resort.
Will it get there? Yes! And it does.
PGA Tour, the Cognizant Classic, tonight from 6, live on Talksport 2.
The sports machine turns you on to the power of live football.
He fires in a beauty.
EFL Live on Talksport 2.
Three wins on the spin that opens up a 5-point gap at the top of the championship table from second place Middlesbrough.
Now everyone will start talking about what may be and what others may do and all that stuff. Not important for us.
Right-footed cross came off the head of Radoni into the bottom right corner. Well, how about that for a response from the league leaders?
The top of the league, they've been the best team in the division for most of the season.
Right is in! It's two! From back to front for Coventry City!
I feel it's a stronger team, a stronger group in a better place because of the work that they've done, individuals and collective.
Hit on the volley by Thomas! Oh my goodness! What a strike! Sorba Thomas!
Stoke don't concede many goals. I think they've conceded the least goals this season. I know they have.
It's going to have to be a top performance from us tomorrow to get anything from the game because they're relentless in what they do.
This is EFL Game Day Live on Talksport 2. And before we take you back to Fratton Park for the second half of Portsmouth against Hull, let's take you to the CBS Arena. Speak to our commentary team then for our exclusive 3 p.m. offering, which sees Coventry take on Stoke. It's good afternoon to Ian Danter and Perry Groves. How you doing, chaps?
Hello, Nat. How are you?
Yeah, really, really well, thank you. And quite intrigued by this fixture, actually, because if you go back to the reverse fixture, this was a sort of battle of the top of the table clash. Not quite the same fortunes for both teams now. Let's just focus quickly on Stoke, because as I said, at one stage they were in the hunt for promotion, and yet they have fallen away. They're 13th as things stand. What's kind of gone wrong, would you say?
I just think that they're struggling on a regular basis to score goals now, especially away from home. If you looked at the first 2 away games of the season, they scored 5 goals, and then the next 10, they've only 15, so they've only scored 10. So I think away from home, they're just struggling to sort of release the hound. You know, as Frank Lampard said there, they're very, very well structured defensively, and Mark Robins' teams historically, Dan, have been like that. You know, even obviously when he was here at Coventry, and he did a brilliant job. So I think, they're just struggling for that little bit of creativity.
Yeah, and when you consider 2026 hasn't been particularly kind for them. They went through an 8-game winless run, but did win last time out when they beat Oxford 2-1. And they're coming up against a Coventry side, Ian, that have rediscovered what it's like to be top of the table and doing so in style as well.
Yeah, not quite 10 points clear like they were at the end of the year, Natalie, but nevertheless, to get 3 straight wins for the first time since November has opened up that 5-point cushion on Middlesbrough, who I saw draw with Leicester on Tuesday night. And I guess the good thing for Coventry is that Middlesbrough are not just concerned with getting close to Coventry again, but now they're looking over their shoulder at what Millwall and Ipswich are doing, because we know that if Ipswich win their 2 games in hand, they go above Borough. So Middlesbrough have got to look in both directions, whereas Coventry can be singularly focused, I think, on just getting the job and keeping this run going. Mark Robins coming back to his old club for the second time since he left, so it's not an unusual feeling for Mark to come back into this stadium where he spent such a long time and had such a lot of success with Coventry City. But this place is buzzing. They're just anticipating the good stuff that's just around the corner, and then it's a question of, do Coventry City, if they get promotion, does Doug King do a Sunderland and completely rip out the squad and start afresh, or do they balance and blend with what they've got? I would argue there's 3 or 4 of this Coventry squad that are good enough to play in the Premier League. I have questions about some of the others.
Okay, well look, we can talk more about that a little bit later on when we officially hand over to you both, but thank you for now, Ian and Perry. That's our 3 o'clock kickoff then, Coventry against Stoke. Let's take you back to Fratton Park. Goalless it was at the first half, second half about to get underway. It is, as I say, 0-0 between these two. Your commentary team is Sam Parkin and Alex Crook.
Thank you very much, Natalie. No sign of the home team yet, but the Hull City players have been back out there, Sam Parkin, for a good couple of minutes now. Does that suggest they've had the proverbial flea in their ear at half-time?
Possibly so, yeah. Maybe I got it wrong. I thought, given how good they've been away from home, that there'll be a certain level of confidence, even that they haven't played particularly well at their level. They've got good forward players that can turn a game on its head. And they've got centre-halves, I think, in Hughes and Egan, that have dominated Colby Bishop, really. So it's not all been bad, but maybe that's just a nod that Jakirovic probably wants a little bit more in attack, going the other way, where they have not really made any opportunities of note.
Well, that victory at home against Derby on Tuesday night was the Tigers' first in 4 games. 0-0 here at the interval. No sign of any half-time changes as the Portsmouth players do belatedly make their way back out. So the home side still with Schmidt in goal, Devlin, Poole, Ogilvie and Swanson in the back 4, Pack and Adams in front of them, Blair, Segicic and Ali behind Colby Bishop, the lone striker. It is Pompey in their blue jerseys, white shorts, red socks, shooting from left to right in the second half. We get us back off and underway here on Talksport 2, your home of the EFL. As straight away a long ball into the penalty area, bounces off the shins of Colby Bishop and it's cleared by Hull to the halfway line. The Tigers with Pandor, who was the busier of the 2 goalkeepers in the first half, in goal. Coyle, Hughes, Egan, Famewu at the back 4, Hadzimetovic and Slater in midfield, with Joseph, Gelhardt and Kumas behind McBurney in attack. That's a dangerous run forward by Conor Ogilvie. The Portsmouth defender is cross all the way across the penalty area, kept in play on this near side by Harvey Blair, who Sam, you thought might be a contender to be taken off at half-time. His cross is intercepted by Famewu and out for a corner.
I think it's a balancing act, isn't it, in that kind of scenario for the manager, because you can shatter a player's confidence by doing that at home. You know, it's not a disaster, it's still 0-0. He was slightly better towards the tail end of the half, so I would imagine 15-20 minutes, see if he improves and then make your decision.
Segicic with a corner, Pompey's first in the second half. It's dangerously across the 6-yard line. It was Ebu Adams who I think was closest to getting on the end of it. It just flashed across right in front of the goalkeeper Pandor, and in the end Hull survived, but it was another dangerous delivery from that set piece by Segicic.
Yeah, great ball in. Strange, wasn't it? It looked like Ebu Adams was just poised just to volley that goalwards. I think it was Colby Bishop round the far side that was able to keep it alive momentarily, but Pandor, as he so often has throughout this afternoon's proceedings so far, nice and sound. Bit of goalkeeping once more.
It's a miscue pass by John Egan, the Hull centre-back. The ball is out of play for a Portsmouth throw, and you have to say on the evidence the first couple of minutes of this second half, the pattern of the match is following the same as the first. Portsmouth looking the more competent outfit, and that is a bit of a surprise when you consider Hull's lofty position in the table and how good they've been in recent weeks away from home. You have to go back to November the 22nd for the last time they were beaten on the road, Hull, but certainly we've not seen the best of Sergei Yakorovic's side to this point. Over on Talksport, they're back underway as well. Live Premier League commentary. Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1, the half-time score, and there were no goals in the first half of the other 2 12:30 Championship kickoffs. Derby taking on Blackburn and Leicester at home to Norwich. There's a Pompey attack on the left-hand side, breaks down. The ball is cleared upfield by Louis Coyle, the right back for Hull. Ogilvie picks it up just inside his own half. The far side of the field bathed in sunshine, the near side covered in shadow from the metal top of the south stand where we're situated. The ball played out towards Harvey Blair, but behind for a goal kick for Hull. 0-0 with just over 3 minutes gone since half-time here at Fratton Park.
There's much better distribution into Colby Bishop, which ultimately ended in the breakdown of communication on the left-hand side between Swanson and Ali, but went in early to Bishop, and much better from Regan Poole, flighted away from the defender. If he knows it's coming to him early, Bishop, then he can anticipate, he can go a little bit quicker, get on that angle, and hopefully for Portsmouth get that first touch on the ball and get possession secured. If they wait and tiptoe and then play it, defender's always going to be favourite coming through the back, so it needs to go early with a little bit better quality, a little bit more care for Colby Bishop to start improving in this game.
Portsmouth 0, Hull 0. You're listening to Talksport 2 live from the sunny south coast. It's a pass from Regan Poole aimed in towards the right back. Devlin is intercepted by Lewis Kumas. Pompey take the throw in quickly. It's over the head of Colby Bishop, and that allows Hughes to help the ball back to his goalkeeper Pandor. Pandor with the ball into the centre circle. Poor attempt at a flick on by Joseph, and now Blair coming in from the right wing on his left foot again. Again well handled by Famewu. And that will be a free kick for Hull after a foul by Ebu Adams. It's been a bit of a mismatch, isn't it, really, Blair against Famewu down this Pompey right-hand side.
Yeah, he's done well up against Infamo coming into the side today. That was bizarre. I don't know if you saw it, Crookie, but the whole centre forward missed the header. Ogilvie punched it. It was a clear handball. He misjudged it, and the staff of the visitors saw it, clear as day. Sam Allison didn't, unfortunately for them. They're still in communication with the fourth official down there, because I don't know what happened to Ogilvie there. He had a momentary lapse.
I mean, it was a poor header attempt at a header from Joseph in the first place. That was what caught my eye. Conor Ogilvie coming through and literally taking matters into his own hands, the Pompey defender.
Maybe, I don't know if the sun's over to that stand to our right-hand side, but yeah, he lost it, and it was the left arm just jabbed away at the ball, weirdly.
20,228 inside Fratton Park this afternoon. Nearly 1,000 of them have made the long trek down from Humberside. We've played 6 minutes since the restart, still 0-0. We've got a stoppage in play here because Pompey have got Harvey Blair still down in need of some treatment after he was the meat in the sandwich between Famewu and John Egan on that last Pompey attack. How long will the two managers leave it, Sam Park, and you think, before going to their respective benches?
Yeah, I don't think too long. Only a couple of changes before today. Played a lot of football. We saw it last night in the opening championship game of the weekend, Bristol City against Watford. Gerhard Struber maybe today, with hindsight, he'll be regretting it a little bit, but he made a couple of changes very, very early on in that second period. So I think the management of minutes will very much be at the forefront of the coaches' minds.
I mean, a lot of football still to be played in this game, but given the sparsity of chances so far, you're already starting to think, with what best part of 40 minutes to play, that one goal for either team might be enough to decide it.
Yeah, it does feel like it could be really fine margins. I mean, they've got good options, Portsmouth, despite their injuries. I mean, Jacob Brown anywhere across that front line, certainly at some point to give Colby Bishop a little bit of a break. He's got the physical size, I think, to be able to go back to front, and he's obviously a little bit more mobile as well. He lacks which is ironic given that Colby Bishop is not scoring goals, but he does lack that probably clinical edge that you need.
Yeah, still little from Hull, barring that first minute flurry when Ollie McBurney scored, but the goal was chalked off for offside. Pompey's best chance in the first half, the effort from Regan Paul up in the back for a set piece saved by Pandal.
I think I'm right saying that Crooks got that goal, didn't he, at the end of last season here at Fratton Park for Hull. He'd be an obvious contender, always good for a goal from midfield.
Yeah, Hull surviving relegation to League One by the skin of their teeth at this ground last season. Spoke to Ruben Sayers after the game. He was enjoying the fact that he managed to pull off the great escape and very quickly was relieved of his duties. In came Sergei Yakorovich after quite an exhaustive search for a successor, and here they are, Hull, looking towards potentially returning to the Premier League. But I've got to say, this performance so far is not one befitting of promotion contenders. Pompey have easily controlled the flow of the game, and they've got a free kick here 10 yards inside Hull territory that Marlon Pack will prepare to take. Short to Segacic, he rolls it out to this right hand side, and Blair looking to get the cross in, but again the sliding challenge, this time from Lewis Kumas, the Liverpool loanee, sends the ball spooning out of play for a throw. It will be Marlon Pack to take the throw down by the right corner flag. In front of the standing section of Fratton Park, away to our right. Pack again prepares to hoist this into the penalty area. Difficult one with a low sunshine, and then it comes out for Ebu Adams. He met it acrobatically on the volley, but it's high over the crossbar. That would have been some technique to score from that chance.
Yeah, further out for him, but his second sighted goal in this second period. Fameway making a mess of the delivery at the near post, has helped it on into a dangerous spot for Hull City, but yeah, Ebu Adams requiring something spectacular, couldn't quite execute it.
Portsmouth 0, Hull City 0. 10 minutes into the second half on Talksport 2. Long ball upfield from the goalkeeper Pandor. Bounces out of play off Regan Slater, who made his 150th Hull City start in the league in midweek, and it's going to be a throw in here for Pompey to be taken by Terry Devlin on the near side. Looking for Marlon Pack, headed half away by Gelhardt, and then a foul by Slater right on halfway, so a free kick for Portsmouth. Segicic, the player who went down, and this is Conor Ogilvie out to his left-hand side, and Swanson, good ball into Ali inside the penalty area, just took one touch too many when he could have got his shot away, and that allows Hull to clear.
It's a really good opportunity. Lovely pass from Swanson once more, weighted to perfection, and the first touch was just too heavy from Lenik Ali. He's in the prime spot to commit and get his shot away, as you said, but his touch let him down.
Frustration here because Pompey have conceded a free kick for a foul on Charlie Hughes. Hughes looking to play it long towards the penalty area. Kumas putting the right back Devlin under pressure, but he gets good distance on his clearance. Then Colby Bishop just leaning into the challenge, concedes a foul. Akin from Awu went down. One of the summer signings for Hull City, and the free kick is taken quickly. And here is Hadzimetovic inside the centre circle. Cross comes into the penalty area. Ogilvie slipped and he had to head it away, almost lying on the floor there, but did the job. And here's Marlon Pack now for Portsmouth, who plays it out to the left-hand side. 0-0. And no real chances in this second half so far. Ibu Adams just rolls the ball into Marlon Pack midway inside the Pompey half. Picked up down the right-hand side by Devlin, then swept out to the left. Ibu Adams finding Ali. Those two on a good wavelength, the two January additions for this Portsmouth side. Marlon Pack now out to his right, and Segicic. Bishop and Blair wait in the centre. Segicic comes infield, then goes back onto his right foot. Then he was manhandling Lewis Kumas. The home fans don't like it, but that's a pretty clear free kick to me, Sam.
Doing a good job, I think, Kumas and Joseph on the opposite side, getting back in and doubling up with their full-back, and yeah, frustration starting to show, and hence why we've got a substitute.
Well, it's going to be Caballero, and if it isn't Harvey Blair who makes way, I would be astounded, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would make a little bit of a case for Segicic not lasting the distance as well, because he's been very peripheral, but yeah, as a like-for-like right now, he's probably going to have a look at Caballero out here for Harvey Blair. I mean, not his own fault really, second period, because they've started flat, haven't they, as a collective, but yeah, in the first half he was off the ball, that's for sure.
Well, it would be another point towards championship safety as far as Portsmouth are concerned, but given that Hull haven't brought their A game this afternoon, I think that's why the fans are just getting a bit agitated. Caballero gets an embrace from his manager John Massinio before being introduced here to replace Harvey Blair. Another afternoon when the former Liverpool man has failed to make any real impact on proceedings. Gustavo Caballero, who has been starting the recent run of away games, the Paraguayan, signed on loan from Santos, is on for the final 32 minutes. Meanwhile, Hull City have a throw over on their right-hand side, but it's one back by Portsmouth, and Caballero involved straight away. Plays it down the left-hand side to Ali. Neat little trick initially, but then just run out of pitch, and it's out of play for another Hull City throw. 14 played since half-time. 0-0 here at Fratton Park, live on Talksport 2. Commentary continues over on Talksport of Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. After that, on Talksport, Adrian Durham will be taking you around the grounds, all the goals from the Premier League, the EFL and beyond. And here on Talksport 2, we've got commentary of the Championship leaders, Coventry, to come your way. Foul inside the centre circle, given against the Bosnian international Hadzimetovic. So it's going to be a Portsmouth free kick.
Yeah, I mean, first thing is Ibu Adams doesn't go down unless he's hurt. I think it's a really awkward challenge. I don't think it warrants a red card, albeit it's a poor challenge. I don't think there was any malice in it, but he flew into it, Hadzimetovic, and rightly yellow carded. Looks like he's going to be okay. He sat up, Ibu Adams. The ball had long gone. It was just a bit rash, but as I touched on, I don't think he was trying to cause the Portsmouth player harm.
Well, that is the first booking of the afternoon as Hull City prepared to make their first alterations. Goals elsewhere in the EFL. Northampton 1, Peterborough 1. Peterborough back on level terms. Leyton Orient 1, Barnsley 2. Barnsley in front in that one. And Derby 1, Blackburn 1. That's an equaliser for Derby. And that's a result that will help Pompey's cause in terms of staying up. And as we await this free kick to be taken, let's get the team news from our 3 o'clock commentary at Coventry. Ian Danta.
Yeah, just one change for Coventry from the win at Sheffield United, live on Talksport 2 in midweek. Romain Essa comes in for Tatsuhiro Sakamoto in the starting lineup. Stoke make 4 changes from the side that beat Oxford in midweek. Bocat, Rigo and Zonzi and Ratsaki go out of the side. Baijun-ho, Seko, Pearson and Gibson are recalled. Live after you're done, Alex, it is Coventry City against Stoke City.
And Dance will have Perry Groves, former Arsenal winger, alongside him. Game Day Live coming live from Perry's former club tomorrow afternoon. Arsenal against Chelsea, our main focus, but some fascinating games elsewhere in the Premier League over on Talksport. Fulham against Tottenham. Tottenham surely couldn't be dragged into this relegation battle, could they? Manchester United with a chance to go third. If they beat Crystal Palace, we'll have all the goals as they go in. Will we get a goal at Fratton Park anytime in the near future? Here's Caballero into the penalty area. Ibu Adams with a cross, nodded away on the edge of that 18-yard box by Egan. Caballero, right-hand side, crosses, blocked again by Famewu and out of play for a Pompey throw. But already, and this is not meaning to highlight Harvey Blair again, but Caballero just looks like he's a lot more capable of making something happen, Sam Parkin, having only been on a few minutes.
Yeah, that was a swift move, wasn't it? From left to right. And Ibu Adams, unfortunately, couldn't find the quality in his delivery when it was presented to him. A lack of bodies in the box as well there for Portsmouth. And here come the Hull changes.
Yeah, John Lundstrom, former Rangers and Sheffield United man, is coming on to replace Kyle Joseph, and Hadzimetovic, having just been shown a yellow card, is to make way for Matt Crooks, who, as you've already pointed out, was the Hull City goal scorer to keep them in the Championship here on the last day of last season.
I would imagine that will mean Gelhardt possibly going wide and Crooks going into the 10 position. Another thing to note is just the physicality of those two boys coming on. Lundstrom and Crooks adding real size to Hull's lineup.
Well, they might need it with this long throw into the area from Pack. Cleared to the D just outside the 18-yard box and then chested down neatly by Millie Ali to keep Pompey in possession. Ali over on the far side now has the ball and he's going to try and run at Louis Coyle. Twinkle toes from Ali, still has it on the edge of the penalty area, but Hull well organised behind the ball, not really giving an opportunity to get across in, and you can hear the Pompey fans' moans and groans as in the end he has to settle for a throw on that far side. Should he got it in earlier, Sam? Did he have the chance to do that?
Yeah, I think too many times he's actually turned back today. I think just go 1v1, no one of a Portsmouth persuasion. None of his teammates are going to have a go at him if he ends up getting dispossessed on an occasion, or if the ball goes out for a throw or a corner. Just a little bit safe maybe in some of his wing play.
Portsmouth 0, Hull 0. Cross into the Hull penalty area, headed away by McBurney, the centre forward back helping out this Tigers defence. In fact, everybody in orange is back inside their own half as again Pompey looking to come forward with Ali. Ali goes back to the centre circle, and here now is Caballero near side the right as we look. Pompey attacking the Milton end of the ground. Caballero has the ball taken off his toes there by Kumas, and Hull City looking to come forward on the counter. Neat ball out to his right by McBurney. Then the man who's just come on, Crooks, picks it up. Might get a chance to cross here. Matt Crooks into the penalty area. Half-headed clear by Devlin. Kept in play by Kumas on this near side, and he's got a chance to cross now left-footed. Blocked behind by Devlin, and Hull City have a corner. 0-0.
Good play. Just able to keep possession, keep it alive, and Crooks dug out a good delivery from the far side. He did drift right there, Matt Crooks, so keep an eye on it, but maybe it is a like-for-like change and he's going to play in a slightly unorthodox role for him off the right-hand side. He's very, very versatile. I remember seeing him play centre-half way back when, so can pretty much play anywhere across the field.
Corner from the near side, the left for Hull. Put straight into the arms of the goalkeeper Schmidt, and the Pompey fans want him to launch it forward quickly because they had 4 blue shirts streaming on the counter, and all he's done is pass it from one penalty area to the other, and Ivor Pandor says thank you very much. And that 20 seconds really sums up how bad this game has been. The delivery from the corner, collected by the goalkeeper, boots it from one keeper to the other.
Yeah, and his distribution has been key, I think, at times for Pompey this season. There was 4 players, wasn't there, rushing towards opposition territory and wildly overcooked. Yeah, Gelhardt over to the right-hand side now for the Tigers.
You just sense here that maybe Hull, having weathered the Pompey storm, if you can call it that, might just sense the opportunity to go up through the gears and maybe take all 3 points themselves.
Yeah, well, they're going to have a chance, aren't they? And I think that will be the concern of the home fans, especially in light of what happened recently against Sheffield United when they were far and away the better side for large portions, end up conceding last kick of the game. So, yeah, any football fan is going to be starting to think in that light.
Evan Nilsson has equalised for Bournemouth over on Talksport. One there in the Premier League against Sunderland. Here it's 0-0 between Pompey down at the bottom of the table and Hull City challenging at the top end. And the ball is with Schmidt, who, apart from that early incident when McBurney had the ball in the net ruled out for offside, he's not really had a save to make, has he, the Pompey keeper? That might change here because Lundstrom has won it back deep inside Pompey territory. Plays it out to Crooks, the tall Hull City substitute. Now Taylor out to the right hand side. Taylor's going to cross here into the area, looking for McBurney at the far post. He stretches but can't get there. Thought it was going to go behind for a goal kick. In the end, Kumas keeps it in play, and then he's fouled his man. Free kick for Pompey down by the corner flag, 0-0.
Yeah, just a few mistakes creeping into the home side's game. Marlon Pack, who's been pretty exemplary again so far this afternoon, just played blind, actually flicked it blind. Thought that there was a teammate coming round the side to receive possession. Ball turned over. Lundstrom, savvy, experienced in midfield, read the situation, and all of a sudden looking a little bit more threatening.
You are listening to EFL live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m, 18 plus. Fees apply. 2 delivery orders subject to availability. Prices may vary. We've reached the midway point of the second half. We still await the first goal of the afternoon here at Fratton Park. So it's as you were in the Championship. 1-1 between Derby and Blackburn. No goals. Leicester against Norwich, and yet to find the breakthrough here as well. But Lundstrom already making a difference for Hull, although as I say that, he's given the ball away inside the centre circle, and it's played out to Caballero down the right. Sliding in is for Maywu, and that goes out of play for a Pompey throw. I think the Hull left back is a contender for man of the match, isn't he, Sam?
Yeah, he's been first class. He hasn't ventured too far forward. I don't think any of Hull's back line have really crept over probably the halfway point of their own half of the pitch. So yeah, it's been a resolute performance from everyone in Hull's rear guard. It's become very bitty this second half. It's just drifting, isn't it, towards a stalemate. It's again primed for someone to come up with a big moment for either side.
Yeah, I wonder what the Hull City owner Acun Ilikali, watching on his lucky chair, he told me this morning in Istanbul, will be making of his team's efforts this afternoon. He was here to see them clinch Championship survival last season. I know he was at the home game in midweek as well and would have thoroughly enjoyed his team's performance that night, but it's been a little more attritional this afternoon. I guess that's credit to Portsmouth as well for their recent form. Hull have certainly shown the home side plenty of respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
And here come Pompey on the attack, down the left with Ali. He's got 3 in the centre. Ali with a low ball towards the near post, but watched all the way by Hughes, who on the corner of the 6-yard box just side foots out of play for a Pompey throw. Home fans doing their best to urge their team on here. They know what a big 3 points it could be if they can find a winner. Still 0-0, but here's Caballero. The Paraguayan rolls the ball forward down the right, and then Regan Paul up from the back with a looping cross into the penalty area, but nobody in a blue shirt anywhere near it. Then it's given away cheaply by Hull City. Ibu Adams into Segacic, the diminutive Australian. Segacic out to Ali down the left. Ali again is going to have a run at Coyle. That's been one of the intriguing battles of the afternoon. Cuts it back to Segacic on the edge of the area. Back to Ali again. Ali into the box this time, and he puts a cross-come shot towards the near post that's beaten away by Pandor. Awkward again for the Hull goalkeeper. Here's Caballero. He had Devlin ahead of him, and then Devlin unable to win the ball inside the area, and Hull should get it clear.
That's a fair shout for a corner, wasn't it? Ibu Adams getting the challenge in on John Lundstrom, although the complaints have subsided somewhat as they drop back into position. Better from Ali, a little bit more forthright, a little bit more positive, coming in field off Louis Coyle, off the Portsmouth left-hand side, stinging drive, well turned aside once more by Pandor, and still await that big opportunity to break the deadlock.
Norwich have taken the lead at Leicester. Ben Slimani with the goal. There were protests from Leicester fans against the owners before the game. That's good news for Portsmouth. It means as it stands they're going 6 points clear of the bottom three. 0-0 here. All of a sudden would look a decent result for the home team as the ball is crossed in towards Crooks inside the Pompey area. Helps it in the direction of McBurney, but out comes Schmidt commanding, and he collects it, stays goalless.
Yeah, I mean, forget about Norwich's lowly position, albeit it's not looking particularly lowly anymore. They're not a relegation threatened side. They are a promotion side in quality right now. Just obviously gave themselves too much to do after such a woeful start to the season. Very good under Philippe Clement.
And there is an irony that won't be lost on Leicester City fans. The final day of the Championship this season is exactly 10 years to the day since Leicester defied those odds of 5,000 to 1 to win the Premier League title. 10 years to the day since that incredible success. They could be relegated to the third tier. Here's Caballero for Pompey inside the penalty area, tries to cut it back for Colby Bishop. Well defended, it stays 0-0.
Well, believe it or not, that's probably Colby Bishop's most important moment of the game there. A one-header up against two centre-halves that had absolutely dominated him, putting Caballero in a prime spot to return the favour. Just couldn't find Colby Bishop once he positioned himself inside the 18-yard box. That's how dominant I would suggest Hughes and Egan have been up against Portsmouth's main striker. It's not been his afternoon, but it could still be.
With that in mind, is there an argument to maybe change the system and stick someone up alongside Colby Bishop?
Yeah, you could make that argument. I mean, I don't know why there's a little bit of reluctance maybe to give Brown a few more minutes, different type of front player. Jacob Brown, and not being ultimately a number 9 for the majority of his career, but he can certainly do the job. I just think there's a degree of loyalty, and I'm sure with Bishop he'd be one of those strikers when you're looking at the data and crunching the numbers, he probably covers more distance than anyone. Honest. It's not running for him at the moment, that's for sure.
Segacic had to get there ahead of McBurney. He only just did that. The ball comes for Crooks, and Crooks scores! And the Tigers are purring away from home again. Disastrous defending for Portsmouth, and the man who scored the goal that kept Hull alive in the Championship on this ground on the last day last season has just put the promotion chasers in front. Portsmouth 0, Hull 1. Poor defending, Sam.
Well, we sensed it, we smelt it about 10 minutes ago. I think it was Segacic, was it not, with the undercooked back pass. Schmidt did his absolute utmost to take charge of the situations, but credits Ollie McBurney for closing him down, putting in that challenge, staying on the right side of the law as well, and the ricochet taking it to Crooks. He's got a hell of a lot to do because he's on the stretch, it's bouncing up, and he controls the strike. He's losing his footing as he connects, and he steers it wonderfully well into the unguarded net. Another massive goal for Matt Crooks at Fratton Park. Can they see it out now?
Matt Crooks' 4th goal of the season, and with little over 15 minutes to play, it could be yet another victory on the road for Hull. Their 5th in a row for the first time since the year England won the World Cup in 1966. They certainly haven't been at their best here this afternoon, but that is what promotion winning teams do, find a way to get over the line in just these circumstances. And I guess if you're a Portsmouth fan, it's almost deja vu. The goal has come a little bit earlier, but similarities with that game against Sheffield United.
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, throughout the afternoon I've spoken about the Hull City defensive record. I think it's a pertinent point to say since Christmas for 7 odd games they'd really arrested that slide. And is it just a coincidence that Famewo comes back in today? They've got a back four that haven't really moved, have they, outside their defensive third. And to this point, certainly in the second half, they've limited Portsmouth to next to nothing in terms of good opportunities. And they've prized them open at the opposite end. So it's looking like, at the moment, a lot of football still to be played. The perfect away performance.
Yeah, it's a goal that takes Hull City up to third in the Championship table and just edges Pompey a little bit closer towards the dotted line. They might be grateful of that Norwich lead at Leicester come full time. Another change here for Hull. Liam Miller is coming on. And Joe Gelhardt, unable to add to his recent tally of 4 goals in his last 6 away games, makes way.
Yeah, the game, aren't they? The front players of Hull, Gelhardt and Joseph, the two that have now departed, but they've not really been able to get on the ball, not had a sight of goal between them. In truth, McBurney's been starved in that regard as well, but he's kept plodding away, McBurney, and played a massive part in that opening goal. And I mean, Matt Crooks, he's always been good for a goal, irrelevant of where he's been across the Championship, across English football, always turns up with big moments.
Derby lead 2-1 against Blackburn, so that's good news for Pompey as well. It means all 3 teams starting today in the relegation shake-up are behind. Leicester at home to Norwich, Blackburn, as you were hearing there, against Derby, and Pompey 1-0 behind against Hull. So Leicester on 34 points in the third of the relegation places. Blackburn and Portsmouth both locked on 39 as it stands, and Hull City now up to 60 points from their 34 games, 3 points only behind Middlesbrough in second. So who knows, Sam? I mean, Middlesbrough have got a much better goal difference, so it is effectively 4 points. But if they can keep this run of form going, could they yet sneak into the top 2 and go up automatically?
Well, that would be something. Yeah, I mean, I've been asked that question a lot across the last few months about various different teams who have been on the coattails of the top 2. It's a no for me, I'm afraid. I think it's Ipswich if anyone's going to sneak in still.
Cross in towards Colby Bishop. He gets something on the header. That was Regan Paul, I think, up from the back, was it? No, it was Bishop. And he flicks his header just wide of the far post. The goalkeeper was in no man's land.
It looked all heads up that was going to be the equalising goal. I think it's off a defensive head that takes it across the 6-yard box and just evades the far post with, as you say, Pandor coming out to claim for his side, completely in no man's land.
Corner for Portsmouth, near side. Segicic whips it in towards the near post, met by Marlon Pack. Didn't get enough contact on it. Are serious problems of Pandora and the whole defence, but they've got a throw in. Good response this to Pompey. From Pompey to falling behind. Still 13 minutes plus stoppage time to salvage an equaliser. You have to say the goal that Hull scored was all of Portsmouth's own making. They've not really laid a glove on Nicholas Schmidt, the goalkeeper, apart from the goal that Crooks has scored. Here's Marlon Pack out to the right hand side, and Caballero, and then Pack back out to Caballero once again. He's going to get the ball down by the right corner flag, crosses towards the edge of the 6-yard box, stooping header clear by Egan, with Regan Paul in close proximity. Caballero's gone down. He's being urged by his own teammate to get back to his feet, and then there was a foul by Maywu, and it's going to be a Pompey free kick just outside the area, and 1-0 to Hull.
Yeah, a little rash from Matt Crooks. Looked like they had enough bodies around the ball to dispossess. Portsmouth flew into the challenge and just heaps a little bit of pressure on his side. Caballero still down, willed to get back to his feet.
Well, Regan Paul was berating his own teammate not to go down there as Pompey were on the attack.
Well, it's kind of my sentiment as well, unless he's definitely hurt. Just get back to your feet. He's going to be able to run it off, and this is important that Portsmouth respond and keep a little bit of intensity in the match.
Just needing to peer around one of those metal pillars to see who stands over this free kick. Segicic is one of the Pompey players, Zach Swanson the other. Attacking the goal away to our right, 1-0 down with 10 minutes remaining. A goal from Matt Crooks off the bench for Hull as Connor Chaplin is being readied. So too Jacob Brown. Swanson with a free kick towards the edge of the 6-yard box. They've defended that well, Hull City, and it's volleyed away in the end by Regan Slater. Are they going to go 2 up here, Pompey? Or will it be a straight replacement, Jacob Brown coming on for Colby Bishop?
No, I don't think he'll take Bishop off at this stage chasing the goal. I think, Jacob Brown, as I've touched on, he's a very versatile customer, can play off either side as the 10.
I'll tell you what, though, those changes that Hull have made, John Lundstrom has started to really impact midfield. Crooks has got the goal. They've absolutely worked, haven't they?
Oh, yeah. I mean, sometimes I think, especially late in games, there's no substitute for experience, is there? And those two boys, they've been so successful in the Championship with a variety of clubs, and maybe lacking a little bit of mobility now and legs, but last 20 minutes to influence it, you could argue strongly in it. And this is the point in substitutes, but probably strengthened the side, haven't they? Losing Gelhardt and Joseph, who weren't at it, and bringing on 2 really experienced campaigners. Love Crooks, always loved him. I think he's a top Championship player.
Well, who knows how big this victory, if they can see it out, could be for Hull come the end of the season in terms of cementing a playoff place, or maybe even better. It will keep Pompey looking nervously over their shoulders. They pull clear of the relegation zone after those back-to-back away wins against London opposition in Charlton and Millwall, beaten at Wrexham and 1-0 down here. Ibu Adams is the player sacrificed to get the extra attacker in Jacob Brown on the field. And Connor Chaplin is also coming on. So 2 Pompey changes with 9 minutes to go. Zach Swanson, as you were hearing on the tannoy, is the other player replaced, so it does mean a bit of a change of system, does it sound?
Yeah, I think you're right. Devlin's gone to right-sided centre-half. You're probably going to have Marlon Pack sitting with Chaplin and Segacic, who are carbon copies of each other, I would suggest, in stature and in the way that they play, as kind of 2 pushed-on midfield players, and your right front 2 of Brown and Colby Bishop as they go in search of this equaliser.
Here's Marlon Pack in the right wing position, pulls the ball back to the edge of the area. Devlin with a left-footed shot, takes a big deflection, could have gone anywhere, bounces behind for a Pompey corner. When he came back, Connor Chaplin, a Pompey Academy graduate from Ipswich last summer, it was a signing that was greeted with a lot of fanfare. Hasn't really been a success if you speak to a lot of people who come to Fratton Park on a regular basis, hence the fact he's not in the starting 11 this afternoon.
It's difficult, isn't it, when you're coming towards the tail end, I think, of your career, to replicate what's gone before.
Corner towards the near post, headed on by Marlon Pack, but headed over the bar and behind for a goal kick, and Hull will just take the opportunity to waste away a few valuable seconds. 7 minutes plus stoppage time to play. You're listening to Talksport 2. It's Pompey 0, Hull City 1, Hull up to 3rd as it stands. Norwich are now 2 up. Ali Ahmed with the second there, and it's Cambridge 1, MK Dons 0. Cambridge are having such a brilliant season.
If they'd have, I know it's all whiffs and buts, but if Norwich had beaten Birmingham last weekend, they'd be in the conversation for playoffs. I think it's something like 10 wins in 14 for Philippe Clement, so that would be 11 in 15. Today, if they were to win that, that's incredible going. And that was kind of the narrative a week or 2 ago. Could Norwich be that team that come from absolutely nowhere?
Well, there will be Norwich fans who will say if we just changed managers a bit earlier in the season, then maybe it could have worked out differently as well. Ifs, buts and maybes at this stage. We are very much into the home straight. Talksport 2, your home of the EFL, and here at Fratton Park it's Portsmouth 0, Hull 1, and Hull are coming forward down their left-hand side with Liam Miller with the blonde hair, cross towards the far post. McBurney tried to get there inside the 6-yard box, couldn't, and it goes all the way out of play on the far side for a throw. 2 more Hull City changes. Regan Slater is replaced by Kieran Dow, signed from Rangers in the winter transfer window. Dow. And Paddy McNair is coming on for Lewis Kumas. So this is a hold on to what we have type double change.
Yeah, and again, just vast experience. You touched on it at the top of the programme today, the new chain of thought really within the hierarchy at Hull City, and we're seeing evidence of that now. I mean, I don't want to use it, the land of the giants, because it's a bit prehistoric, that reference, but you catch my drift. They must have Louis Coyle, aside, 9 6-footers out there now, I would suggest.
Well, I think they've gone down the analytical route under previous managers. They tried with the foreign imports, Hull City. It wasn't really paying dividends, so there was a definite change, not just in the summer but in January as well. Get the sort of gnarly old pros who've been there, seen it when it comes to the Championship, and here they are as it stands up in third place.
And it matches up a little bit to the type of performance we've seen today. There hasn't been lots to enjoy about them. I can't say it's been particularly easy on the eye. I can't even really tell you outside the back four who's played well in terms of who's got on the ball and showed quality in possession, but they're getting the job done. And I'm sure this has probably been the case throughout the season in multiple occasions. And it's never, or not necessarily, the best teams in the league in terms of style, ease on the eye that get promoted. It's about getting the points and probably, in Hull's case here, getting the job done in a knockout situation come the tail end of the season, which nobody will want to play him.
Just such a bad goal to concede from a Portsmouth perspective. You were right to credit Ollie McBurney for making a nuisance of himself, but Segicic just had to take responsibility there, didn't he, rather than wait and leave it for his goalkeeper. Just put it out of touch.
The anger was certainly apparent straight away from the home end away to our left, given the nature of the goal. They could sense what was coming.
Well, here is Segicic trying to atone for that error. Picks up the ball down by the left corner flag. Leaves it for Ali, and then Conor Ogilvie is going to whip this in first time, left-footed, but cleared on the edge of the penalty area. McBurney holds it up, and they might be able to counter here, Hull. I mean, he's not the quickest, Ollie McBurney, over a few yards, and Regan Pull always had his number there and helped it back to the goalkeeper, Schmidt.
What we've got now, though, Crookie, is a team set up in a 3-5-2 with 2 wide players, wingers, Ali and Caballero as your wing back, so they're going to want to feed the box, and Hull City in turn have got 9 giants back there to defend. So they've acted, Portsmouth, and in turn Jurkovic has gone, all right, OK, you're going to load the box, you're going to have 2 centre forwards, you're going to try and hit it in there and put us under pressure in that regard. I've got Lundstrom on, I've got Crooks, and now I've got Dowell and Paddy McNair as well to counteract that. So it's still probably going to require a little bit of craft to open up this resolute visiting defence. Can Chaplin or Segicic maybe just find a little pocket of space to conjure something?
Derby 3, Blackburn Rovers 1. Rhian Brewster, another goal for Derby. So in terms of the other results, this defeat doesn't really damage Pompey too much, but they might just see it as a missed opportunity to at least put another point on the board. I think their performance, with 2 minutes to go, trailing 1-0, would have been deserving of a share of the spoils, but that mistake defensively looks like it will prove costly. Free kick for Hull to be taken by their goalkeeper Pandor. It's not really been tested in this second half, the Croatian. They've been booked for time wasting there.
What do you say about that? Because he had a word with him 5 minutes in, Sam Allison, do you remember? At the opposite end, because he was taking too long over a goal kick. A card that's been in the post? Is that it?
Second class, maybe?
Yeah, he had his number from about 10 minutes in, the referee.
I mean, it has been an afternoon from a Hull City perspective where they're near 1,000 travelling fans would have set off very early, even last night coming down to the south coast, but it's been an afternoon when they've just got the job done. No ribbons.
No, it's funny, isn't it? Because you look at their early season form, maybe the first half of the season, they look like the Championship's great entertainers this year, shipping goals for fun, scoring them equally at will at the other end. And yeah, this has been quite a reoccurring theme since the turn of the year. Drab, fine margins, and coming out on the right side of them, it looks like again today.
Yeah, because you'd imagine there won't be too many minutes added on. We're about to tick into the last of the 90. Portsmouth 0, Hull City 1. Home fans a lot quieter now than they have been for much of the afternoon here on Talksport 2. Regan Paul carries the ball over the halfway line, plays it forward to Ogilvie. He's got Ali now playing as a left wing back to his overlap, but again Hull defensively very solid. Louis Coyle plays it forward, like a push in the back by Marlon Pack on McBurney, but I think the referee Sam Allison just felt McBurney made too much of that and doesn't give the free kick. Header away by for Mayweather as Pompey launched the ball forward. Here is Devlin down the right hand side, looks to feed it for Chaplin, knocks it straight out of play for a Hull City throw.
Not seen him at his best, Devlin, and always been impressed with him this season, but he's a little bit restricted, as I touched on, more so now that he's playing right-sided centre-half, but with kind of a flying winger in front of him, someone who wants to hug the touchline, he has to concentrate on his defensive duties, really, because he can't get on the overlap.
Schmid forward for Portsmouth, flicked on by Bishop inside the penalty area. From Mayweather was aware that he had Caballero lurking, so he's put the ball out of play, but it will be a corner for Portsmouth. 7 added minutes. 7 minutes for Hull to hold on to the win that will put them up to third in the table. 7 minutes for Pompey to get the equaliser that a lot of people inside Fratton Park will feel they deserve. Corner taken from the near side straight into the arms of Pandor. How many times have we said that at both ends this afternoon? The quality of set pieces from both teams has been absolutely abysmal.
Well, I think across all the league, just seeing so many balls get spun into that near post space and a cluster of bodies going in there, and even that today has not lent opportunities. I think there was one actually 5 minutes or so ago where Marlon Plack was really well positioned, got far too much on his header. That one opted to go a little bit deeper, and that was so comfortable for the visiting goalkeeper.
Pompey going to make another change here in stoppage time, trailing by a goal to nil. It's another attacking alteration, as you would expect. Madiodio Dia, I'm reliably informed we can call him Jojo, is on. Here's Ali with a cross into the penalty area. It is Terry Devlin, who you said hasn't done his best afternoon, Sam, who's gone off. Pompey have a throw on the far side.
No, he's just been quiet, hasn't he? He's had to concentrate defensively, I think, rather than get forward and help supply things in an attacking sense.
I have to say, since they took the lead, Hull have defended really well, despite the fact that Pompey have got so many forward players out there now. They've had so much possession. The goalkeeper, Pandor, has been really well protected. Can they maintain that for the 5 minutes of stoppage time that remain? If they do, it could be a big 3 points here. It would be a big 3 points here. Connor Chaplin with the ball into the area. Volleyed away by McBurney of all people. John Lundstrom was the furthest player forward for Hull there. Ali, was he wrestled to the ground? Over on the left-hand side, referee thought about it, gives a free kick, and Pompey with a chance to load up the area once more, chasing this equaliser on Talksport 2.
Yeah, poor decision from Kieran Dowd. 2v1 there. I think Louis Coyle was in close proximity as well, up against Ali, but too urgent to get the challenge in, and it's a clear free kick, and this is a big opportunity now with Portsmouth loading the box.
Well, you wonder how many more chances they will get, Portsmouth. Free kick about to be played in from the left-hand side. Zach Swanson, by the way, has just been named as the home side's man of the match by the sponsors, and well, you said it in the first half, that's all well and good, but he is a fullback, and at home that's probably not what you want. Trailing by a goal to nil. Ball played into the air. It was Dia having just come on who got on the end of it, but again, Hull have cleared the danger, and they might counter here. No real attacking intent to do so. The ball has just been given straight back to Portsmouth by Kieran Dow. Conor Ogilvie staying forward. Did he get a nudge in the back? Yes, he did. It's another free kick. Again, the referee took his time over it. And again, the big men will be summoned forward by Pompey. We've played 3 of the 7 added minutes. Hull still lead 1-0.
Yeah, just a little bit of panic setting in, certainly in the unwanted moments, giving away the free kicks in really presentable positions for Portsmouth to try and get a sight of goal.
These home fans trying to suck the ball into the back of Ivor Pandor's net. Time not on Portsmouth's side, but everybody, bar the goalkeeper Schmidt, the free kick taker, and Connor Chaplin, just on the edge of the area, is inside that 18-yard box, all within about 5 yards of each other. Again, Dia was the target. It bounces off his head and behind. He's a big lad, isn't he? But he's had 2 headed opportunities from set pieces now, and 2 that he couldn't make the most of.
Yeah, that one certainly lacked a little bit of conviction. I mean, I got a busy weekend, Crookie, but I'm going to do it. There must be 1,000 championship appearances out there for Hull City, I think, in this 11 right now that are trying to see the game out. And if you're putting together, this could be famous last words, defensively minded players, veterans, ones that have been there and done it, who you want to defend your box. Some of these names will come up there for me. Egan, Lundstrom, could
well,
go
even
on.
Ollie McBurney back doing his defensive duty.
Paddy McNair. I mean, these are players that have been there and done it in terms of the second tier. And to this point, have marshalled Pompey really well.
Although here's Ali trying to get in behind. It was just a hopeful punt outfield. The offside flag goes up. Free kick for Hull. 2.5 minutes to go. Do you know the most amazing thing as I was prepping for this game? Ollie McBurney, I think he's been around forever. I think he's as old as you. He's not even 30 yet, by the way, Ollie McBurney. He's 29.
Yeah,
I mean, that is a tough paper round.
Yeah.
But what a signing he's proved to be. 14 goals. Hasn't had too many opportunities today, but he's led the line. He's defended that box.
Yeah, I didn't have an opportunity to say, actually, but Miller flashed one in, didn't he, about 5 minutes ago? And that was his first sight of goal since the disallowed one in the opening minute of the game. And he just couldn't make up the distance, or it flashed past his brow and he was left frustrated. But yeah, it's been a thankless task up there for him today. And he's been well marshalled by Ogilvie and Paul, in fairness. But yeah, he still probably goes away. I would presume he'd rack up another assist for that block that he made on Schmidt's intended clearance. And yeah, Crooks on hand to what looks like score.
Yeah, it was just his mere presence, wasn't it, that forced the hesitancy between the goalkeeper Schmidt and, well, actually Segacic was really at fault.
I mean, he probably will get the assist because I think it's a touch off him, a ricochet, but he deserves it because, my goodness me, terrific work rate. In essence, that's made the goal. It's made a pretty simple task for Crooks to convert.
We've got just over a minute of stoppage time to play. Was that another yellow card there for time wasting? Not that Sergei Yakirovic will really be complaining if they can see out this final 60 seconds. Hull City and pick up yet another 3 points on the road, cementing their place in the playoffs. Maybe it could even get better between now and the end of the season if the teams above them slip up. Hull City very much part of what is going to be an enthralling end of season promotion race on the Talksport network. You won't miss a kick from that championship run-in, and Hull have the ball deep inside the Pompey half. There might be one final opportunity for Schmid, the goalkeeper, to launch it long upfield. One last piece of defending to that. Might have been a handball in there. Comes for Ali just outside the penalty area into Connor Chaplin. He can't bring the ball under control. And then a free kick conceded. And that probably will be enough. It was Ali with a challenge. Free kick. Miller went down. And we have played the 7 added minutes, Sam Parkin.
And they did win that initial header. I think it was Bishop, but Ali, absolutely surrounded by Hull City shirts, opted to just shift it on to Segacic, and him in turn just had 3 or 4 visiting players ratting at his feet. Turned the possession over. Miller wins the foul, and that, you would suggest, is that as the victory song start away to our right in the away end.
Yep, the ball to be played forward by Pandor should be the last meaningful action of the game. Is the last meaningful action of the game. And Hull City win 5 successive away games for the first time since 1966. They move up to 3rd place in the championship table. They weren't at their best this afternoon against a Pompey side, still looking nervously over their shoulders towards relegation. But by hook or by crooks, they've got the job done. Matt Crooks off the bench to win it. It finishes here. Portsmouth 0, Hull City 1.
Alex, thank you very much. And what a win that has turned out to be then for Hull, that moves them to within 3 of the top 2, albeit, of course, that plenty of games still to be played over this weekend. Let's look over this game then with the former Ipswich striker Sam Parkin, then, who was part of our commentary team. And Sam, sometimes it's heartbreaking when a goal like the winning goal has come from a mistake at the back for Portsmouth.
Yeah, they would have had that sense, and I think we spoke about it with about 20 minutes to go. The Portsmouth fans witnessed something very similar against Sheffield United last time out here, and lightning strike twice again this afternoon. They probably deserved something from the game, but you always felt that Hull were going to get an opportunity in that second half, and it came from hard work from Ollie McBurney, and Matt Crooks has done that time and time again, year after year. Obviously went off to the MLS for a brief period, back now in the Championship, and you always felt with him coming into the game that an opportunity may fall his way. So wasn't a vintage game, wasn't a vintage away performance, but it could be so positive for Hull moving forward, and could be an afternoon they look back on which gives them the real confidence to go on and achieve something special this year.
Yeah, I mean, you're right to say it wasn't a vintage performance from them, but ultimately they're taking the 3 points back home, and Portsmouth will be kicking themselves, won't they, when you consider the amount of chances they created. Yes, they were maybe half chances, a lot of them, but 21 shots that Portsmouth had to the 2 from Hull. That's the disappointment that Pompey fans and players and everyone involved will come away from this game thinking, why didn't we do better?
Yeah, it's almost as if the game, I mean, it wasn't lost because they conceded late, but you understand my sentiment in the early exchanges. They were so on top, they looked so inventive, and the best opportunities for Portsmouth probably came in the opening 20 minutes or so. From then on, yeah, as you mentioned, loads of shots, but mostly speculative, no golden opportunities, and you had that feeling, certainly around the press box, in the home stands, that this wasn't going to be the afternoon for the home side, and so it played out. But yeah, they needed that goal early. We could have been talking about a handsome Portsmouth victory had they scored early when they deserved to, but they couldn't convert. And I just think the lack of confidence in the front players, encapsulated really by Colby Bishop's performance today, who's really off colour, it's a bit of a problem moving forward, because I think you can rely on your fullback coming up with a wonder goal, one of your central midfield players getting their head on a cross, but I don't know if that's sustainable. They need their front players to start scoring again if they are going to get them into a position of safety.
They are 5 points clear of the bottom 3, Portsmouth, after this result. I know we spoke about it pre-match, and maybe, you know, you can look at this performance and think they should have got something out of it for the possession that they had, for the shots that they created, or moments they created as well. But are they, from what you've seen from today, in danger of potentially being sucked back into it, or do you think there is still enough, even with all those injuries, that they can pull themselves a bit further clear?
Yeah, well, they've got a nice cushion. That's the first thing. 5 points going into this afternoon's games, and they've got some relatively kind fixtures, if there's such a thing, in the Championship to come in the next few weeks. So they need to get the job done across this next 4 or 5 games, otherwise it could get really tense. They're not out of it, to answer your question, Natalie, at all. I think they could very quickly get sucked back in, so that's why it's such a missed opportunity today. I suppose the positive, the light at the end of the tunnel will always be, I think, across the last 12, 18 months, is players coming back to fitness. If they can get 1 or 2 back, probably Josh Murphy being the most important one, but I think that's a little bit up in the air as to how long he's going to be. Shaughnessy would be a real help to get him back involved as well, a centre-half who's a top player. That could solve things and go some way to cementing their status, but no, I think there's going to be a few tense weeks ahead, if I can be honest for a moment.
Well, we appreciate that, Sam. Thank you very much.
I should always be honest, shouldn't I?
Yeah, absolutely. We like an honest Sam. That's great. Listen, thank you very much. And to Alex Crook as well. Safe travels to you both.